Okay, welcome everybody to the inaugural episode of Cast or Curse. I am Nurse, and I'm going to be joined by Zeke as we navigate these muddy waters of platform fighters, commentary, coaching, psychology, everything from there and back for all of your needs, all in one place. Zeke, how are you?
Oh, I'm having a lovely, lovely week. This is going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. Before we get into everything, we're going to kind of introduce ourselves a little bit, especially since this is episode 1. So any of our new listeners or watchers will kind of get to know who we are and what we do and all that cool stuff. And then we'll probably jump into talking about some of the big rivals and Smash brackets coming up this weekend and go from there. But this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited. I'm excited to finally start doing this. We've talked about this for a really long time.
Too long, yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely just spitballed and shot the shit a bunch on streams together over the years. So it'll be a lot of fun to just kind of actually sit and do it with a recording button going.
I know. I feel like we're all grown up all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I don't like it.
Okay. Well, yeah, like you said before we jump off the deep end,
Yes.
Give us a little background about you. Who's this Zeke fellow we see in front of us?
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know me, professionally, I am known as Coach Zeke. I have been coaching many games for 6 or 8 years now. Professionally, full-time, it is my job, it is what I do, and it's awesome. I not only have coached primarily Super Smash Bros. And Rivals of Ether 2, but I've also done coaching for Splatoon, for Overwatch, and lots of other fighting games, odds and ends, Slap City, cool stuff like that. It's been a fun little journey. Nowadays, it's a lot of Rivals 2, a lot of Smash, but it's something I'm very grateful for, and I've gotten to work with, I think, almost over 2,000 or 3,000 unique players now across the world, which is awesome.
Holy.
And for anyone that doesn't know too, I also stream a lot of my coaching, which you can find, here where we're streaming the podcast as well on twitch.tv/Zeke here. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I have a background in sports. I played a lot of soccer and baseball growing up, but nowadays, it's all video games. It's a good time. What about you? You're the interesting one. You're the creature. You're the creature.
How that works? The creature.
Yeah, you're the creature.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know me or know me in somewhat limited capacity, I go by Nurse. My real name is Blair. You can choose which one you would like to call me. And if you follow me at all in the Smash or Rival scene, you know that I was a player for many, many years, probably going on about 10 years in Smash 4 the real OGs know that I played PlayStation All-Stars competitively, Mortal Kombat X, Rivals 2, all of that good stuff, here, there, and the next thing. I've been ranked in Canada for Smash 4, Smash Ultimate. I was in the top 50 for HDR. And have kind of made moves here and there, doing all of those things. I also do commentary professionally now and have kind of transitioned my career from being a player to the commentary side of things, where I think I've found a degree of comfortability and also a degree of need in terms of the kinds of commentators that people are looking for. And then also my job is I am a... right now, the designation is called mental health therapist, which means I have a master's degree in counseling.
Big smart.
Big smart. Yeah, is that my flex for the day? Where I specialize in sports performance and LGBTQ plus issues. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place in terms of specializations, in terms of connections to the esports community and Smash and Rivals in particular. With little threads here and there into the fighting game community as well. And, if you follow 2XKO, stuff like that, you've also probably seen me on streams for that.
Oh, yeah. And I can't wait to see more of you casting 2XKO. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to just get to talk about it more. I know that there's that announcement coming out, later this week?
They just said by the end of March. That was their...
Oh, yeah, classic.
Whenever it drops is whenever it drops.
Can't wait for it to drop while we're recording this. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
All right. Well, yeah, that's our little TLDR on us. You can definitely just check out our platforms for anyone watching here. You can see our Twitter ads down below if you want to learn more about us. That's definitely the place to do it. But yeah, let's jump into this deep end. We got a lot to talk about and
We
not
got a
enough
lot of
time.
stuff.
Yeah. So to start, we got 2 tournaments this weekend, and we're both going to the other, like the opposite one.
We got full coverage.
I am going to Dan's wedding, and you are going to Battle of BC7, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I guess for those people wondering, I opted not to play in anything for Battle of BC just to like have the weekend omen. So the only thing I'm technically playing in is Bam Bam Boom. It's crazy. Very big pop bonus flat fighter that they have at Battle of BC. But otherwise, you will be able to see me on commentary in top 16 for Smash Ultimate, and then for top 4 for Rivals 2. So if you wanted a quick demonstration and this was your first introduction to me, it won't be too long to wait until you get to see what it's like.
Hell yeah. And on my end, I'm going to play, but my glasses broke this past week. So I'm probably going to go O2, which is awesome. It'll be my second O2 in Rivals of Ether 2. First O2 at the Fusion with 8 people, which is awesome.
That's tough.
Yeah, no, it's just how it goes. But we'll see. It'll be a good time. And you might see me on the mic. I don't know yet. We'll see. You might see me. We might get a little jump scare like Hitfall, where I magically appeared and was on for a bunch of hours on the side stream. You never
super
know.
long.
yeah, you never know. But could be a fun time. I'm very excited though. But you want to talk about Battle BC first?
Let's talk about it. And man, I love Battle of BC. I could just take a second to gush about it. I think Battle of BC has it's so near and dear to my heart as a tournament series, just because it's one of the ones where I've been to all of them.
Oh, that's sick.
From Battle of BC 1 to now, like I've been to all of them. And funny enough, you can see the gradual transition to commentator from Battle of BC to Battle of BC, because I believe for Battle of BC 2 and 3, I think I got 13th and 9th respectively.
I think that's right. Yeah.
At both of those events back in the day, and you can see me kind of transition onto the commentary side of things. And truly, Battle of BC 5 was a big sort of showcase for me, where I'd been doing smaller commentary things, and then Battle of BC 5, they were like, "All right, get at it," and I was like, "Okay."
No, it's cool for you, especially because like it's not your home province, because you're in Alberta, but it's close enough that it's like you've always been able to make it out. Like that's so awesome to be able to have that like in your backyard, in quotations, like major. That's a huge privilege, and that's so cool that like not only have you played, now you're casting. That's fucking awesome. I definitely don't have that at all, but I've bounced around at many a tournaments here and there throughout the ages of different games. But that's so sick. I actually didn't realize you've been to all of them.
Yeah, I've been to all of them, even when they were pretty significantly smaller. And for those of you that are up to date on the Nurse lore, that was I think it was the second strike Nurse run back in Smash 4 was at Battle of BC 2.
Was that the trench coat or the tie?
That was the trench coat.
Let's
and then,
go.
The third Nurse Captain L run back, I believe, was also at Battle of BC 2. So there's some lore there for the people who were embedded in Canadian Smash Brothers at the time. But that being said, one of the main things I love about Battle of BC is their willingness to fly out like up and coming players.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is last year they had Hurt during one of his kind of inaugural events in the States, and he actually ended up winning. And if you actually go back and watch the cast, I'm gonna call it. But I think it's so cool that they often prioritize having players like that come out and build their career, because I think that's what the spirit of the event has kind of become.
Yeah. No, that's actually so cool. I've never really noticed that, but now that I think to all the past ones, even going into like early Smash 4, they always tried to get at least one like up and coming player. And
Well,
I
they
just
had
remember them like
Dormigi.
contacting players.
They had Yora, like a bunch of those guys who were making moves and
Oh,
don't
that's so
necessarily get to
cool.
come out all the time. And then also, as much as it is sad to say, like West Coast doesn't always have the representation that East Coast does, despite having a
100%.
lot of talent down here. And so
Yeah.
this becomes one of the easiest tournaments combined with like port priority, where people on
Right.
West Coast actually get to come out and show what's been happening here.
Damn, PNW has it good. That's so cool. I never really thought about that, like the scope of it, but it's just like it is like the hub event. And it's like it's bigger too, especially now that they're doing like more, because they do more than just platform fighters now, right?
Yeah, they added fighting games last year or the year before.
Yeah, that's so cool. I just, it never really clicked for me like that, where like Genesis has always been like the big West Coast one, but it's like Battle BC is really starting to pick up more and more and become more than just like, Genesis is very much like the platform fighter event for sure, and like one of them.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's like Battle BC is now like breaking out of that mold. And I remember noticing the Street Fighter event and like a ton of big names like actually going. Like, didn't Justin Wong go last time?
Yeah, he's coming this year as well.
That's so cool. See, like that's just cool. That's fun.
Yeah,
I love
it's
that.
definitely.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
So if we want to dive into the bracket, I see you have rivals pulled up here.
Yeah, do you want to do Rivals or Smash first?
Let's jump into rivals, because
Okay.
we were talking about this a little bit beforehand, and as we kind of looked at the seeding, but the top 16 of this event, it's hard to ask for much more stacked than it is.
It's crazy.
It really genuinely is.
It's actually crazy. Like the fact that we're you know, Cake is gonna be there, which is already a dub. Like Cake and Marlin are gonna be there, which is big because they haven't had their run back in a while.
Yeah.
But I think the big, like the boogeyman in the room that is attending, that I think we have to talk about is Mr. Ron Gunshoe.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, dude, he's so good. He's so good, and I know, like, recently, he's been bouncing around and, like, trying other characters. He's been learning a lot more forwards for and stuff. But as Battle BC has gotten closer, through the grapevine, I've heard he's been back in the lab with the Clarin and locking it in, you know? Really wants that dub. And I think that's going to be just an absolute treat. I'm excited. I know Cake does not want to play him, though.
I feel like Ron Gunshoe is one of those players that has been around for long enough, and then like PNW, or not PNW, but PM, HDR kind of rival scene.
Yeah.
As if you're in the scenes, you know, like you fucking know. But if you're out of those scenes and kind of not embedded in the culture as much, you might actually not have even heard of Ron Gunshoe before.
Yeah.
One of the most like proficient sortie players that we have, and that Rivals 2 has, and very high on the rung of like tech skill. And I know like,
yeah,
again, sortie players can kind of go back and forth whether they're like the tech skill Marth or the not tech skill Marth. I think Ron Gunshoe definitely continues to push the character further and further.
Yep.
By just raising the bar and what is expected of your execution. And so, yeah, when you say if there's any player to watch to like kind of dark horse win this, especially someone who doesn't get to come out very often, Ron Gunshoe is definitely who I have my eyes on. Yeah.
Funny enough, he is also playing into who I think is the other like wild card in the bracket, which is Mr. NBAD once a year attendance.
Oh my God. I found out NBAD is from Winnipeg?
Yeah, he's in the same, like he's just hanging out there.
I had no idea. He's playing against Strike.
Yeah, they're like he could have been. He didn't. As far as I know. He's a busy guy. I'm pretty sure he's like a music teacher, like full time.
Okay. Yeah.
Or either that or he's finishing studying. I forget which, but I've known him for many years, and I'm very excited to see. I know he is a big time grinder. If there's anybody who's just like, I got free time, all right, I'm gonna play some Rivals and just play it out and grind it out, he is probably one of the kings of that. And I feel like he's always like under the radar because he, as far as I know, I don't think he's like ever been number one unranked, but he's always been in that 10 to 20 rank of like, when he's playing, he's in the top 10, and when he's not, he just decays down for everyone else getting points, and then he catches back up every time. And it's just like that. It's, you know, online, right? But like at the end of the day, like more times than not, and this is the scary thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about, is like he's the one playing with the worst connection with most people.
Yeah,
and if
that's
he's
definitely
beating
true.
them, when he's
That's
beating them,
definitely true.
it's scary. That's like when I watch like Sofilo, that's the same thing when she's playing in like 90 ping and like
No,
8
she's
rollback
crazy.
and cooking
That's
like
the number one person I wish was here.
I wish one day. It's her birthday,
We'll
I think
see it.
next week. So maybe
Is
next
it?
year. Yeah, I think she
Oh,
turns 18, which is crazy.
Jesus, don't make me feel old, man.
Yeah.
These kids are too good.
Yeah.
But I think this is an interesting bracket to look at as well. In terms of like the character spread, even is maybe a little bit different than what we are used to in terms of who is expected to make it super far.
Yeah.
And notably, Zetterburn is a character that I know Beastly mains, but I don't know if there's anyone else in this top 16 that is
Yeah.
on Zetterburn other than like I don't know who Bullets is. So
Bullets
perhaps
is
that
an Edilus. They were top
Edilus.
Rivals 1 player. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got the Edilus. Bagel is also in attendance. I don't know how much he's been practicing, but Mr. Lord Bagel himself is going to be a Battle of BC. So there's a universe where he slips into here too. Like he's got the chops. He's got, you know, there are just people that just like they have the fundies, the experience of like playing top level. Like if they're having a good day, if he's having fun, oops, I'm in top 16. Like it just happens. Oops. Yeah. And I think with the meta kind of flip-flopping around a lot, like let me just we're gonna spend a little time going into this like concept of just like there's been a lot of characters with a lot of changes and a lot of characters getting a lot of buffs, like, and especially with him being someone that plays Edilus and like Loxodon, who like have kind of been bouncing around a lot. That's a weird one. If he's having a good day. Yeah. I could definitely see like a lot go wacky real quick.
Well, and I think matchup comfortability, and this is like a greater conversation that we don't necessarily have to have right now, but in terms of comfortability, you know, the Edilus stuff that maybe you see on like Twitter or something like that, in terms of like the upbeat cancels and the weird stuff that he can do. Yeah. If you haven't played against that a couple times, you know, he only needs to win a BO3. That's all you need to finesse somebody for. And that is, I mean, time again, that is something I will advocate for as a huge bonus to being able to pick up characters quickly. You only need to win a BO3.
Yeah. It's so crazy how many knowledge checks that character has, where it's like, you're not supposed to DI like that in this position, or like this move just combos into this, and if you're not ready, like boom, you explode at like 90. Like there's some crazy stuff that he has, and like even like someone else who also plays Edilus in this bracket, who, you know, if push comes to shove, we might get a funny jump scare. You know, Beastly, unironically, one of the best Edilus in the world. Like, it's actually, yeah. He's got a little secret Edilus that he's been dancing around with. I don't know if the Edilus players know which one he is, but I won't be leaking that.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's secretly the GOAT.
And it's interesting again because the characters that we are seeing really represented in this top 16 are like Claren, and Craig coming at like 1 and 2, and then like Maple and Forsburn. So again, to a degree, it's the usual suspects, but definitely a little bit of a shift considering like the increase in the amount of Clarens that are expected to make it pretty far, and a decrease in the amount of Zetterburns. And I think even from a perspective of the characters that lose to Zetterburn, there's opportunities for them to make a bit of a run. And I think the biggest omission from this notably is Rano, with I don't believe any in this top 16.
I don't know of any of them who are attending. It's a shame that Strike didn't make it out.
That's the real sad thing. And it's so funny because like Manitoba is low key the strongest region in Canada just because of NBAT and Strike. Like,
super stacked. That's
they're
the crew
competing
battle
with me for the rest of the West. So like it's not that hard.
Oops. No, that's so funny. No, it is interesting. Like this is definitely like this is gonna be one of the Claren tournaments for sure. I don't really know what to expect from this. And it's gonna be interesting, especially with the fact that like Spargo is also attending, and as far as I know, has not dropped. So I think that is gonna be really cool.
See if he can run it back.
100%. And I know, I think like the Pikmin Spargo set, that's gonna be like a banger. Like that's gonna be a banger because that's gonna be a like. What do you call it? The bracket rustler. Like if Spargo loses, losers is gonna be a nightmare. Like,
And I think Pikmin Spargo is an interesting set, particularly because I feel like when I think of both of those players, Pikmin coming from like a pretty long history in PM and Spargo coming from Smash 4 Ultimate, I feel like what they bring to the game is this very like fundamental understanding of plat fighters generally. And this is not to say that they don't have an understanding of what happens in Rivals 2, but when I watch Pikmin and Spargo play,
it's
totally
definitely
like we're just gamers right now.
Yeah.
Both of them are just gamers, as opposed to seeing some of the finesse that might come out from something like someone like Elkies, who's like a rivals player.
Yeah.
And so I think that set will be really interesting in terms of people who are craving like just good fundamental rivals. That'll be the one to watch.
Yeah. Very much excited for that. And like just two players with so much experience at that like higher level in totally different environments. I think it's going to be just textbook beautiful play. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
To kind of drop another name, so we're not just talking about literally every set here, like Mystery Soul is also attending, which has not happened in quite a bit now, to my understanding. Yeah, that's crazy. And obviously Fleet is very different.
Well, honestly, better than she was at Flat Fight.
No, that's what I mean. It's like since then, is like the fact that like he's still been doing really good. I think he's been going to his locals and doing well. I think there was like a regional. Like he's definitely been playing, and I know that for sure, and like online stuff as well. So if there's anyone that can do it, like it's him. But that Elky set, that's like the nightmare. As Fleet is the. Wait,
is it though? Like, look at he's surrounded by Claren. Like, how did he dodge them all?
That's the funny, but what I mean is like he accomplished to dodge the Claren, but then has the vicious little rat that it will always catch you. And like as someone like I had the lovely pleasure of getting to play Elkies in bracket at Hitfall, and I can comfortably say she is the hardest player in the world to not get hit by. Holy moly. No matter what I tried, she was like, I know what you want to do. And I was like, oh my God. And it's like, if you're Fleet, like,
yeah.
You better run.
I think the funniest thing about Elkies is I've played Elkies a couple times just in like ranked and stuff like that. And every time I run into Elkies, I'm like, my win condition is coaxing her into SDing.
Yeah.
And she will do it.
She's been getting better about it. I don't know if I saw her SD at I didn't see her SD in Rivals 2 at Hitfall.
Okay.
In Rivals 1 in Workshop, she definitely did. It's
a scary prospect if she gets that under control, because definitely the couple times I've played her have been like, I'm getting cooked, and then she overextends super deep and just gets owned for it.
There is a superpower in believing, and sometimes to a detriment, But if 9 times out of 10 she's right for believing, that's the scariest thing that could happen, especially against a character like that who can just put you all the way down there and then be like, all right, I'll meet you at the bottom blast zone, and then make it back, and you're like, oh, okay. I guess I died at 30. Like when we were watching Hitfall, what was it? When Elki's playing against Toothbrush, and every time one of them would hit each other, Cake would be like, oh my God, so-and-so is dead. And I'm like, dude. Stop. It's funny stuff. But I think this is going to be a really good tournament. I think there are a lot of really good sets. And a lot of upset potential in the seeding, I think, which is really cool. I think they did a good job with where they placed everybody on this. Yeah. With where we're at now.
Even Mr. R is someone who like easily could make that top 8 winner's side.
Yeah, there is a universe where that could happen. But I definitely think he got his
bracket look like.
I will say I think he got the most unlucky though, where he has to play Beastly, who is like probably the best in the world at the Raster matchup.
That being said, I was under the impression that Mr. R had a lot of time in that matchup as well.
I think he does, but I think Zetterburn is a bit of a different beast right now. It's for better or for worse.
To put it kindly.
Yeah, he's the Zetterburn champ is kind of good right now, so I think it's extra hard in some ways. Oh, D-Brick is attending? No way, dude. Do you know who Dolphin Brick is?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's for anyone that does not know. Dolphin Brick is one of the GOATs from Rivals 1, one of the greatest who played Orcane, and has definitely not been attending nearly as much in recent times. So that's really cool. I believe that is like I think he's from Vancouver or from that area, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and even in terms of upset potential, first off, I gotta shout out Fabs for
Yeah,
being in the
yeah, let's
comments.
go.
I didn't enter, but one of the commentators has to rep it at some point.
Hell yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
but players I can definitely see making upsets in this bracket. Dolphin Brick is like a pretty big unknown
Yeah, no idea.
in terms of however much they've been playing is maybe indicative of how they do.
Yeah, I'm very
Um,
curious.
Hyperflame is someone who could absolutely make an upset over NBAD and try to go on a run
Yep.
on the loser side of things. And then some of the like PNW players that people may not be as familiar with, like Cupid, Locust, Bird, Sawstep, even to a degree, are all people that I play against pretty regularly on quick play and
Yeah.
are all capable of making an upset given the right bracket. Or given the right kind of like matchup to progress further. So I definitely think Hyperflame someone to keep an eye on. Locust and Cupid, both people to keep an eye on in terms of how much they've been playing and how much they show up on the day, because it could be pretty big.
Yeah. Someone else I want to make note of is Ceramic, one of my lovely Twitch viewers, is actually to do very well at this event. She is a very scary Loxodon from BC. And she's definitely
her on quick play multiple times the other day.
Yeah, she is definitely an interesting creature where like sometimes like you know those players where it's like they're skill floor in the skill ceiling has a little bit of a gap, but like when they're feeling good, you just die. You just die. She's one of those players, man, where like she grabs me and I'm like, there is a 60% chance that I just die because I'm above 50%. If she is feeling good in this moment and is locked in, I explode.
Yeah, she's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I had this bizarre thing with her where I think I beat her with Loxodon, but lost with Clarence, or not Loxodon, with Edalus, and so that was just my cross to bear that day. But I have
That's what
also
I mean.
played against Ceramic a couple times, and I feel like Loxodon, the spot he's in right now, again, one of those characters where, like you said, if the day is right, and everything ends up feeling good, you can make those upsets. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially if people are sleeping.
Yeah, I think everyone's got to be careful. There's sharks in the water, so to speak, throughout this entire bracket. Like they're everywhere. They're everywhere, and like you can't get comfy. You can't afford to just get comfy while this is all going. But I am really excited for this event. I'm almost sad that I'm gonna be at Dan's because I want to watch this. I'm like gonna have my phone the whole time and just like checking everything because there's gonna be so much happening. It's gonna be overwhelming. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you know that there's no way that this is what the bracket looks like by the time we get to the end.
That's the coolest part.
Way.
It's literally the best part. It's so awesome.
All right, do we want to check out the ultimate side of things now really quick?
Yeah.
Let me.
That's a good idea. Let's do that. So we have, oh my God, it's massive. We're gonna go to top 24 because I think top 64 might legitimately be too much to kind of dig into. But I know like a handful of the Japanese players, are going to be coming out for this. And right at the gate, we're seeing Hurt, Mia, and Akola, and Shuton. Oh my God. The squad. The literal squad is here to invade.
That's the death ball.
Oh my God.
in top 16 winners. I think Hurt is first seed, and honestly, deservedly so, based on the results that he's been putting up in Japan lately. Looking to make a top 3 finish on like the Luma rank this year, just straight up.
Yeah, and don't forget a Genesis also. Like not even just in Japan.
Yeah, just goated.
Yeah, LMBM and Genesis. What was it? Was it Genesis where someone gave him a pro GCC because his controller finally died? The little bootleg.
The
like,
Mario one? Yeah. Fuck's sake.
I don't know how he plays Snake on that thing. As someone who plays Snake, I have no idea. Those controllers feel so bad.
No,
they don't know better.
For years, he plays on GameCube controller. He played on one of those like shitty Mario branded ones that like you get from Best Buy for like $30. And he won Battle of BC last year with that thing.
He actually just like straight up
really ridiculous.
Won. Like anyone who's walked into a GameStop and been like, oh, it's a GameCube controller, but it's not. It's not actually a GameCube controller. That's what you looked at, and that's what he won on. That's how much better than all of us he was at that time. It's crazy. He's a machine. But to kind of take a peek back at this, I'm excited. Tweak is there. Tweak and Light both attending, which is always a treat
Yeah.
when you get both of them. I feel like that a lot of times we kind of miss out on getting both, so that's really cool to see. And Syrup, who
Looks like a top 10 player this year.
right now might be on track for top 5. Honestly, it's getting close.
It's the kids, man. It's the kids.
They're scary, but I'm excited. I think Shoot on Spargo is also gonna be a good
I think
set.
one of the really interesting things, and again, maybe this segues a little bit, but and not to say that it's going to happen, but something we have seen Mia doing the past couple-ish tournaments is pulling out a Mii sword fighter as a secondary. And I don't know if everyone is up to date on
I'm
the
praying.
Mii sword fighter nuke that just dropped.
Oh, I'm praying.
But basically, there are a series of 0 to deaths and kill confirms that were just found for Mii sword fighter. And if Mia spends any time implementing that on his sword fighter that is already good.
Yeah, has actually won tournaments and has real wins in Japan and out.
Yeah, there is no way that Tweak is going to be ready for that. There's no way. And as much as like I love to like gas up Tweak, because Tweak I feel like embodies what Ultimate is quote unquote supposed to look like.
Yeah.
You know, that's great until Mii sword fighter 0 to deaths you with something you've never seen before in your life until a YouTube video last week.
Until Mii sword fighter grabs you at 40 and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you just die.
You just die. That's it. I will just say, quick segue on this. Holy moly, I'm so happy. I'm so fucking happy that Mii sword fighter is finally being respected. I've been saying it since like 2019. And I am so sad that I was not the one who was able to find this combo, because I spent a really like a good amount of time. And the piece that I definitely missed was the slingshot back air. That was the one thing that it was
the bear up air.
It was the bear, because it's like all the up air stuff. I was telling all of them about the up air stuff. I always was, when the Mii sword fighters that I coached, most recently was Scrubbed Out. I was like, it's the up air fastfall thing. That is broken. It is so good. That move beats everything. It's so good. But seeing the way that they've all come together to like reshape the entire meta of that character, from going to funny tornado B to now like having a proper neutral game, and now having all these, like, not just like the combo, but like all these different routes with plats, without
20
plats.
routes into the combo. Yeah. And I
even,
think the biggest thing too is like, and this is something I didn't even know exists, but that hitbox that comes on his head.
Yep, the top one.
Being kind of key to making that back air up B work.
Yep.
Again, it looks simple because technically it is, but in terms of like labbing it out, it's not the most intuitive thing ever, which is why it probably wasn't found until now. And also, who the fuck is playing Mii sword fighter? Like, I'm so sorry, but like,
yep. No, it's so true that like you look at the ultimate CSS and you're like, oh my god, I love. And nobody says Mii sword fighter. That's just not a thing. Why would you pick Mii sword fighter when you could play Cloud? When you could play Sora? When you could play even like Mario is cool in his own way. Like that's just, nobody has that itch. But you know what?
And I mean, this is coming from someone who played Mii Brawler.
No,
like,
you played Captain Sands.
Captain Sands. But somehow even Mii sword fighter lost to Mii Brawler in terms of coolness. Like, that's how far down the ladder he is. But I think there's definitely potential for upsets, even just based on that, because what was found was not insubstantial in terms of pushing a character's meta forward. And I think there are plenty of opportunities for upsets even before we get into this top 24 of people who are going to start implementing this and straight up finessing people.
No, this is going to be a crazy one. There is just so many people coming out to this event, and the fact
TG's here again.
Yeah, just keeps coming back. The banjo that never gives up. God bless.
That got me my most viewed TikTok clip last year. It wasn't even posted by me, but it was just me and Rod freaking out.
That's awesome. I love that. No, it's gonna be a good one. The fact that like you look at this winner side and you're like, oh, it's crazy, and then you look and you're like, oh my god,
it's still
Shiny
crazy.
Mark, Zomba, Wrath, Pocket, Gluttony, Leo, Cola, TG, they're all seeded to lose, and any of them could win. This could just look completely upside down. It's gonna be such a banger. It's gonna be such a banger, and I really hope. I just like seeing good Smash. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you go back to the loser side of things, Battle of BC is historically a tournament that Ouch shows up big at.
Yeah.
Historically, a tournament that Glutoni shows up big at.
Yeah.
And even players like Cola and Mutace,
Oh yeah.
we know
I didn't
are
even-
capable of it.
I didn't even see Mute there.
Right?
I
Yeah,
didn't even
Mute is
catch it.
there.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
so we're also kind of in this questioning period of like, what version of Cola and Mutace do we get that day?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that if it's their best, they are making a run for that top 8 as well. So nobody is safe coming into this bracket.
Yeah.
And this is just the top 24. Like, I'm sure if you take a quick glance at like the top 2's top 64 brackets,
Oh God.
they are insane as well. It doesn't stop there. This tournament's very top heavy.
Apollo Kage is also here. Base Mage is also here. Oh yeah, Beastly is entering both
Beastly.
games because he's crazy.
Yeah. Mr. R. Even Peckham and Black Twins.
Oh yeah, Black Twins is attending. Oh man, Captain L is entering. Yeah, let's go. Lemon is entering. Fatality is gonna be there. Death Spade. Yeah, this is gonna be
Spade.
gonna be a
Quick
banger.
is here as well.
all bangers. All bangers.
Again, this is just a one side. JDV, someone we know can make upsets there as well.
Yep.
Especially against like PG, who's Banjo. And then what does the other side look like? I know there's two.
Which one did I look at? I didn't remember.
see.
I think this is the other one. Yeah, Danny's
this goes-
going also.
Danny's here,
Big
and we even
boss.
saw Danny just in grand finals of Plat Fight.
Yeah.
Almost take it over Wrath in like a game 15. That took a while. Let me tell you, I casted it, but we strapped in.
God, that's so
Sparkle, really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Hornbag from Alberta.
Speaking of me, he's Apple reviewer.
Apple reviewer. Yeah, Elijahman has been making
Oh my
runs.
God.
And again, like I said, like Elijahman is one of those players that just shows up sometimes.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
My
Even
God.
Big D. Big D is here against
Yeah.
Backstreet and Burst.
Yeah.
Like Monty's not even seeded for top 24. Like, dude, there's a world where all of these players just win.
What was
You know what I mean? Like,
what was that clip? Elijahman with M2K. What do you say? You know, do you play better when you're like attracted to your opponent? And M2K is like, what? No. His streams are crazy. If you ever want to just like feel like you're in like an Adult Swim episode, open his stream. That's just what it is.
all good. He's a homie.
Yeah, he's real
Then
funny.
like even Major is seeded for top 64.
No, this is gonna be such a good one. I'm really excited to see how this bracket like pans out because it's the chaos method right now. Nobody knows what's gonna happen here.
It almost feels like a Japan bracket.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of Japanese players that consistently come to Battle of BC. It just, and then having players who sometimes show up huge, like Big D, Ouch, Mutace, and Cola.
Oh, there
having
is a
all
universe.
Of those players in the same pace just make it chaos.
There is a universe that Big D slips into the top 16. This is his home. Like
he's done it before.
He's done it lots of times. He's gotten like top 4.
He just has to not run into Lemon, like so genuinely. Like that's what it is.
Gosh. Oh man. Yeah. No. I Battle BC is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for it. But let's talk about Dan's wedding. Let's go back to rivals. Let's talk about rivals. Ugh. So this event has something very special happening. For anyone that doesn't know, this is the first stacked event that Mr. Zeus de Goose is attending offline. He went to his first like proper offline recently, but it was definitely not stacked like this is.
Wait, he's seeded to lose before Winterside top 6?
He just doesn't have the stats offline at all.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I know.
This is gonna be the least inspiring upset of all time. Come on.
I will say, Lucius and Zeus have played a moderate amount, and of the people that I have seen play Zeus, Lucius is surprisingly quite good at it, and I think a big part of it, no, trust me, and the reason why it will be of no surprise, is that he is willing to sit there and look at him.
Yeah.
And Zeus do be pressing buttons with a lot of confidence sometimes.
That is true.
There's nobody better at naring off the ledge than that guy. He's the best at doing it.
I think when I think of Lucius and the kind of way he's willing to play, I definitely think to like how consistently he's able to get that kind of like the like ledge slip up Bs or the ledge cancel up Bs.
He loves that stuff, yeah.
And kind of use that to camp around the map, especially on on maps like Harbor and Forest
Yep.
and other things like that, where it becomes very strong. And so
Yep.
I think you've kind of nailed it on the head in terms of like what the win condition is.
It's very much, can
of,
I keep the funny goose guy away from me? That's what
yeah,
it is.
pick a big map and fuck off. Like,
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of that.
yeah.
But I think like Zeus getting to play against OKZZ, who's like super under the radar, but like locally has been doing very well here in Tri-State. I think that's gonna be awesome. Archangel, another player who I believe they play Claren, but they've been around for a very long time.
Is
and
Archangel not from HDR as well? I feel like
they
I
played
know
so many games. I legitimately couldn't tell you which game is like the origin of Archangel. It
yeah,
could be
I don't
Brawl
think it's
for
the
all I
origin,
remember.
but I think I remember Archangel at one point in HDR.
I think so too. I really don't know though. I think someone in my chat is actually from the region, so they could probably let us know in a second. Is ult? That's crazy. See, like that's what I mean. It's just like they've just like been around, but they are definitely like I've had more than like 5 different people be like Archangel, very good player, like very good player who just has not had their opportunity to showcase it. And like I think this is definitely the one where it's like that set with Toothbrush. If he makes it there, that's gonna be like an all-timer for the event for sure, because it'll just like that'll be his moment to be like, let's see, like can I keep up with
Can
like,
I do it?
yeah. Exactly.
And I think again, interestingly, this is where all the Ranos are. You know,
Listen,
you got
that
two
flight's
seated in the top
expensive.
3.
That flight's expensive,
Yeah,
and we see
I respect it.
we see 2
and
of the
even
goats.
Yoda Cage, the fabled Bowser Jr. Smash Ultimate.
Yep.
For the people who don't know, I have been seeing put up results locally in terms of what he's been able to do, and I think it's so interesting how much crossover there has been between the games and how we're seeing even people like Yoda Cage, who you may or may not be familiar with in Ultimate, have those skills transfer over to something like Rivals 2 and be super good at it.
Yeah. And even on like the loser side, like someone I think we should keep an eye on. Funny enough, another Claren is Dexter, who is I think Smash 4 ult as well, from MDVA. So
is that MDVA Dexter? Like
I'm pretty sure if someone can confirm for you, I'm like 90% sure that's MDVA Dexter.
Cool.
But
yeah,
there are some
you
like
expect big things from him too.
I think he's quite good. And again, he's like one of those people that like on ranked, he is grinding. He is always in that like top 20. And yeah, okay, it is. Yeah. And, like he is just
okay.
You can tell it's like he's playing and playing and playing and grinding. And it's like if he is having a good day, would not be surprised to see him do well. Same with like Hazy Moss is like always like one of those interesting wild cards, especially with being like one of the only rasters, I think, in this bracket. Like, you never know.
Yeah. And if that Dan the Man is the Dan the Man I'm thinking of, again, another player who's been around for a hot minute.
Yes.
I believe he either played Charizard or King DDD. I've definitely played him in HDR at some point. I think if it's the person I'm thinking of. And again, a solid player in his own right. And then I also see is that Jorg with the Zeke Esports?
That's the Zeke Sports Jorg. Yeah, that's my guy. I have been coaching him quite a bit, and he is very excited for this event. This is going to be the Maple send off, as he is very, very, very excited for Olympia, which we'll start talking about Olympia in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
But holy moly, yeah, no, this is chat. Someone tell me who the fuck Geometry Dash Enjoyer is. I just need to know who that is, because I have no idea why they're seated so high. And that's not shade. I just don't know who the hell it is.
Base name.
No, it's a great name. I love it. I agree. Just someone tell me who that is. There's just a couple names in here that I don't recognize that are probably like regionally from here, but I think it's gonna be a good one. I think there's a good little balance of like some like really high level talent. And I think it's just this is gonna be a fun tournament. I'm excited to get to experience it myself. And it's Dan's wedding bash. It'll be great.
Here it is.
It'll be great. But no, I think that pretty much covers the brackets. I think. I mean, obviously, like eyes on Zeus. That's it. Everybody, like, this is the moment. Let's see how he does.
He needs to show up.
Yeah.
He needs to show up.
He
or
is.
else I'm gonna give him a talking to.
He is.
He doesn't show up.
I don't know. I think he's announced this yet, but I'm just gonna just say it. So I think Zeus is watching our stream also. So oops if he didn't. I'm pretty sure he's going to Evo, and I think that's one that's gonna matter a lot. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think as much as this tournament is like a prove yourself sort of thing, I
Yeah.
think you do want a nice seed going into Evo, and so winning this is at
Mm-hmm.
least a kind of a check mark on your
Yep.
resume in terms of like, okay, guys, don't
Yeah.
screw me by seeding me into Cake Assault round 3
Yeah.
of my Evo bracket.
That would suck. That would suck so bad. But no, I think like an event like this where it's like if he beats Lucius and Toothbrush and or
Yeah.
Archangel, like especially like if Archangel beats Toothbrush or something, like some sort of combination of like 2 or 3 or all 3 of them, depending on like if he wins or loses, like that's gonna give him that like top 16 to top 8 seed guaranteed, like for sure. Especially if
Yeah.
depending on how dominant, and like I will say, especially the way it looks in these online turns, even when he's one of the few people that's beaten Marlin, like, and a lot of times when he beats people, he beats
not
people.
close. Yeah, he beats people.
So
Yeah.
like, you know, if he plays Toothbrush and it's just like 1-2 done, and you're like, we're just all sitting there, and it's like, well, damn, the tournament's over. Like he gets it. He gets the top 8 seed. Like he got it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And without getting too deep into the ultimate side of things, I think
Yeah.
some like tri-state classics
Yes.
are people you expect to be there in terms of like Jen and Jackal, and I believe Geist is also here as well. So.
Rivers is also attending.
Rivers playing?
He is playing. I think he's planning to go to Kagaribi as well. I'm not sure if he's fully committed, but I think he's expressed interest in doing it. It could be the
That's
last
my
hurrah.
guy.
Yeah, I love James.
I remember the Luigi. I'll never forget.
I'll never forget the
never
Luigi.
forget
The greatest.
Luigi.
I'll never forget the first time when he was in Smash 4 when it was like stupid broken down throw Luigi, right? And he beat a cat for the first time.
Yeah, I remember. This.
And they were all so mad because it was like at this like garbage arcade tournament with like 2 setups. It took forever. It was so funny. We all went back home and they were so mad. X months later, when Luigi got nerfed, we threw a party. And James was invited. And James was invited. It was awesome.
When I think about my come up in Smash 4, especially when like the DK stopped working and I had to go to like other things, James was a pretty big inspiration in terms of the way I wanted to play the game. And I think even subconsciously, I still look at his gameplay and I'm kind of like, whether he's on or not, I'm like, this idea is what I want to be doing. Yep. He is. He definitely is. And you can see it in the way he plays.
Yep.
And so I would love to see him pick up the sword fighter. And
yeah. Oh, dude, he's tried before, and I think he's trying again.
No, but I'm saying he'd be exactly the kind of guy who, with what just came out, he would be so fucking good at it. Like,
I'm saying.
You need to go DM him. I don't have this line of connection, but
we've been trying. We've been trying. I will just say last thing about James before we kind of segue off this. Like, I have definitely had the pleasure that like I have known him for a very long time, since like early Smash 4, like pre-Shield change Smash 4. Like I was not only like a practice partner with him, we played so much throughout the years back when I like growing up here in Jersey, but just like I've also had the lovely pleasure of coaching him throughout the games. Like he is someone who just has such a good mind for the game that no matter what game it is, if he's having fun, he can be one of the best, if not the best in the world. And I always believe that he is definitely like someone who gets it.
Yeah, and you can tell.
100%.
All right.
Okay, now
the slop.
Now, everybody, we've made it to the slop era. It's time for the fun. We are going to make a fucking tier list, everybody. This is the last tier list before Olympia drops. You know, I haven't done my own yet, and I hit a funny little sub goal just the other day. So me and Nurse decided this would be a good one to just kind of to hop, skip, and jump right to the point this is what it is right now, and there are the goods and the greats and the not so greats. so you got the good, the greats, and the not so good.
The not so great.
And yeah, I think we'll start there.
See where we go.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So. I mean, we're just gonna move her down. We're not gonna do that yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do we want to start in order? I think this would be fairly uncontroversial.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The buffs have been great for her, and she is not bad by any any means
No.
necessary. But all of the good characters run fucking laps around her and get kills 5 times easier than her and have better recoveries than her.
Yeah, I think where she excels is again at like putting pressure off stage, and it's not guaranteed pressure, but it's almost those kind of like 50-50 situations where if Fleet guesses right in certain situations off stage, you lose your stock really early.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is there's characters like Rano and other characters in the game that it's not a 50-50, it's a 100-100.
No, it just works. Yeah.
Which makes it feel worse, but it also means that if those things start going well and the Fleet player has a good read on their opponent, you can definitely still make it happen. And so 100%. I think it's a good thing to preface this list from the space of like no one in Rivals 2 right now is bad.
In any capacity. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. 100% agree with that. And speaking of a character that's not bad, but kind of is in this weird little limbo, and it's like, it's the funny elephant man. Like
I'd put him in good.
I think he's good, but it's like it's so weird.
The up throw stuff is too strong to not.
The fact that it's like if you fight somebody that's like comfortably good at using like regrabs or like plat tech and stuff like that, it's like you just have to ban Hodojo. You just have to, or you're just gonna die at like from 50 onwards, depending on the character you play, which is crazy. That character can rob you, and especially like on top of just the size that he has. But I've definitely had this conversation with people a lot lately, and it's like it's the don't get floor hugged grab minigame is like the most important thing. And he's only actually scary above like 130% when you don't get to combo him unless you're like Raster.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues is right now with where we are in the meta, Loxodon is one of those characters, and it's kind of like PMDK to a degree of he's a character where the way to beat him is you don't let him play the game.
Yeah.
Like that is the win condition, and in a bubble for the Loxodon player that can feel really bad if you execute it perfectly.
Yeah.
We're not at the point in the game where people are really consistently doing that, even at the top level.
No.
And when you have stuff like, up throw down B into the neutral B charge that just kills at 50 on certain DIs, you know what I mean? Like it's brutal.
It hurts.
And so when you think you have this like reset combo and then you get floor hook grab at 50 and die to that, like it just feels like dog shit. And I think in terms of like my tier list philosophy, I'd rather talk about what is happening.
Yes. 100%.
As opposed to what could happen. Because I think, again, realistically, as people get better at the game, Loxodon is probably going to get a little worse, especially because the skill ceiling in this game is so high.
Yep.
But right now, people are not there. Like, no, genuinely, not really anybody is.
Yeah. And
like,
I think it's
Hero
just like...
took a game off Cake Assault. Like, it's...
I think the big thing is just like accepting that it's like I have to play the Loxodon minigame, and as time passes more and more, it just gets normal, and you either it kind of clears the air of like who is actually trying to be a top player and who is willing to accept like I have to play the funny minigame of like don't get grabbed by this guy, because every platform fighter's got that guy. And right now it is definitely, or one of the characters is definitely this guy, and it hurts especially bad if it's like you get grabbed and he has charge. Goodbye.
Yeah, GG.
Goodbye.
I think the other aspect of Loxodon that is so like can be annoying to play against, and I think separates the good from the great, is how people use down B off stage, both as a recovery tool, but also to snap, like to catch ledge snap.
Yeah.
When it's not working, because you can just go down B into fair, down B into back air, just off the back of ledge drop if people aren't snapping properly, and it is so strong. Yeah,
the fact that we have like regrab invul and stuff like that in this game, being able to like regrab drop invincibly, like level 2, level 3 pop, like if they are not riding the wall, just bye you die. Like that's it. It doesn't matter how dare, fair, bear, nair, what. If you're above 60%, like you're probably dead. Like that's just GG. Yeah. I've even seen like some of the guys will just do it into like side B and just be like thunk and just toss you down, and it's like, well, I'm the Rano guy. I can't come back from this. Like I don't have a jump. And I think Lox is definitely a very interesting character in that way, where it's like, how creative can you be in solving the problem, in how do I take your stock, and how much can you put that pressure onto your opponent to have to like worry about this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, because they can't play around all of them. They just can't.
Yeah, and it's that thing of like if you put on enough pressure where your opponent is constantly thinking, if I mess up, I'm gonna lose a stock.
Yeah.
That is when people start messing up. Like,
Yep.
very genuinely.
Amen.
All right, Rano. I feel like we'll probably agree on this one.
And then there's the gods, you know, and right now he is definitely one of the gods.
Pretty good.
There's this magical thing that happens when good, or even like he's always been like good, right? He's always been like good, but as the meta has shifted and as like the engine has changed and as all this stuff and characters have been getting hit, he's just been sitting there, you know, just doing a little this and just, oh, me, I'm just a chill guy, you know. I'm just a chill guy.
I'm just a chill guy.
I'm just a chill guy.
Yeah, he got nerfed, and then his nerf got reverted.
Yeah, I'm just a chill guy. Like I'm just here for a good time. You know, a little fair here, a little needle there, a little down throw here, a little fair there, a little down strong here, a little up tilt there. Yeah, it keeps going. Interesting. It just keeps going.
I'm tech chased out of my front door. That's interesting.
Curious, very curious.
He's in my driveway. He's in my driveway.
He grabs the big body. Oh, I get up thrown and now I'm at 60. Ooh, interesting. He's definitely just like, I feel like it's a mix of not many top talent, Rano, as we keep saying, like not being able to make it out to events, to like really show it. Yeah, they do. There's tons of them. There's Shrike, there's Ant, there's Lucius, who's been going to more stuff more recently, but for a couple months didn't attend like anything, you know, like
there's Luck.
There's Luck who hasn't been playing. Yeah, and like it's just it's and you know it's interesting because it almost feels like a byproduct of like a lack of data in that sense, where it's just like, oh well, he's not winning everything, so he's probably fine, and it's like, you know, maybe not.
And again, like he's not necessarily winning, but he does always seem to be there in some capacity, like Toothbrush.
Yeah.
The other weekend at Hitfall,
getting a win
Assault.
on Cake Assault and making him swab off of the Forest Burn. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Like not very few people have done that.
People are doing it. People are absolutely doing it. And I think it's a character where if you look at the kit, you can kind of be like, yeah, this character kind of does everything you could possibly want him to do. Yeah. And it's going to be on people like Toothbrush, like Shrike, like Ant, Lucius, Luck, all those people to just show up to the events, right? Because they are all talented enough to compete within that top 10 range. It's just a matter of can we get them out?
Yeah. No, like even like with, you know, we mentioned it, Dan's, like if Toothbrush can hold it down and like keep Zeus back and win, like that's a big
huge implication.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for that. I think this is definitely like, he's the boogeyman in the room. I think above everyone else, it's just like he's there and it's just like, what do we do about him? And you know, fingers crossed next week anything is better than nothing. That's all I'm gonna say. But he is, that Rano champion is very good, guys. That's just the fact. I was definitely I was not as much of a believer for a little bit, but I think as the game has shifted, the things that he's good at have just been amplified so much, especially things like the hit pause change, like really played into his favor.
Yep. That agent is strong.
Now, all
right, Forsburn. I'll let you take the reins, and then I'll hop in after, see if we agree.
Yeah. So, you know, last patch, or like last patch, you know, I believed he was the best character in the game, and with the combination of lots of different changes, but I think especially with that clone change, I think he has dropped from gods to, I think he's like the one at the top of the greats. We are right there
right now. Yeah, we are on the same wavelength with this.
Yeah, I think he's literally
have to fight you
right there, because it's just like, it's one of those things where like he has all these mix-up off stage, but if it's a situation where it's like he's fighting a Rano with the needles and like how they needle, or if it's like an Edalus with the icicles, or a Crag Rock, and it's like you have to do the clone here, or you have to do the smoke here. If it's the wrong one, there's just like a very high chance you just die and explode. And like, it's so quick, because it's just like, oh, I I have to be careful now. And I think before we had it real good. And even then, it's like, it wasn't even like his recovery was never bad besides like immediately on release where it was like he had the no drift stuff.
It was really bad. Yeah.
Like that was really, really bad, right? But like since then, it was just like he's been chilling. It's like, it's just, he suffered from what I always described as like decision paralysis. There were a bunch of right answers, but if you just guessed, it was really easy to guess wrong because you could get taken advantage of as a player. And so I think with that change, he has dropped down just a little bit. I still think he's super good and is criminal. Like his nair is fucked up. His back air is fucked up. His down tilt is fucked up. But like that recovery change, like at that high top level, when you're playing against these guys that have the flowcharts all figured out, it matters. It matters a lot.
100%. And like you said, the clone change hits pretty big in combination with the down air change that he got. I felt like one of the most oppressive things that he had was how threatening just full hop clone down air was. Like it was ridiculous because it even led into shield break setups.
Yeah.
And so having both of those options nerfed, not just the clone, but also the down air, I think changes that like super oppressive option to, okay, how else are we going to kind of get ourselves in situations like these? Because that can a little bit be where Forsburn struggles. Yeah. Because I feel like when he's in control, he's one of the best characters in the game at maintaining control. But it's not as easy to get it anymore because there's not just a one-stop shop and clone down air.
Absolutely. And I think even then it nerfs his neutral because you can't just like default to just like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna dash back and I'm gonna jump and make a clone. Like it happens less now, which means you get that like neutral win by just making clone and playing neutral, which is just inherently in his favor. Like that's just how it goes. Like when you have the which one is he moment, like you got to be careful. And certain characters just super struggle with stuff like that. You know, even an example of one that's like you have to be, it's like awkward now is Loxodon, where it's like when you do make that clone to like try and like challenge him in the corner, you got to make it count, or it's now like, okay, like now he might be able to inch his way out of the corner and try to take center stage from you if you get mixed, or if you mess up on that clone, you don't have that clone mix up to land now, depending on like the route he takes you through.
Yeah, or even if he like yoinks you a side B and then you off stage and then you don't have a clone.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong very quickly. And so I think like the player side of playing him, he's still amazingly good, but there are like big bad mistakes that you can make now where he actually gets like punished, like with his kit, his potential gets lowered essentially.
The mistakes matter.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the vibe, because before, like truly they
No.
Didn't that much.
No. It was literally make clone. I'm going to back air. Oh, you didn't hit me. You hit the clone. Well, just 3, 2. All right, yeah, and let's do it again. Here we go. It just didn't matter. And I do think, like, even as someone who plays a lot of Forsman, like, it's a good change. I think sometimes it's not 100%. Fun, but it's a very good change. And I actually give so much props to the devs for doing something like that, where, like, you know what? Like, even though I've said, like, on the record, like, it's just not super fun sometimes, it's for the best. It's for the better, 100%.
And there's definitely like a way that they could have gone with the game. And again, this is like a greater discussion that is, we can't necessarily have right now, but like there was a way where like they kept old Craig, they kept old Forsburn, they kept old like everyone, and just like said this game is going to be nuts. Yeah, candy for dinner. And I think unfortunately, people would have likely found that more frustrating.
100%.
Because even on release, people were like, it just feels like who can access their cheese faster.
Yeah.
And so as much as it feels not fun to not be able to access some of the like outwardly broken stuff anymore.
Yeah.
If you consider what the other option was in keeping all of it, I think it's a much more frustrating game to play that doesn't feel like maybe you earned it quite as much.
No, absolutely. And I think like they're doing God's work right now, which is just addressing the things that are frustrating to play around. And they've said that very clearly, that like that's their mission kind of statement, is like the things that are unfun to play with or really, really hard to play around. They've been doing a good job addressing, and it's just one by one, they're slowly doing it. And so I have a lot of faith for next week's patch on that front too, that it's like there are lots of little things that exist that like absolutely can be addressed, and I have faith they will.
Okay, so moving on to Maple, and I feel like this is maybe this has got to be one of the most controversial characters in the game in terms of tier list placement, because I've seen everything from top to bottom in terms of
Yeah.
kind of where people place Maple, and I think after Plup's performance at Genesis, people have kind of reconsidered what this character can do and how. And even having played Plup for, I think I played Plup for 3 hours straight.
God bless.
One of these days, like it sucks.
It's hard. He's real good at the video game.
Yeah, and so there is kind of different things that you can do to deal with this character, and I'm curious to see what you think about her placement.
I think the most awkward thing about Maple, and it's like her one bad thing, is like of all like the greats and the gods, I feel like she's the most parryable, if that makes sense. Like the way she moves, the way her moves work, all that stuff, you're most likely to get a parry against that character. And I think that like one variable existing is the thing that just puts her right here with these greats. She's at that cusp where like I think the movement change with her dash, it's real close. She's real close to sneaking up here. But I think like that coupled with, as we continue to fill this out, the other greats and gods having a lot of good tools to kind of contest her in these spaces, I think there's a lot to work with.
Yeah.
But she's super good. She's this magical, like super good, but also like really low lows moments. And I think the other like best characters are good at putting her there, but the best players, and as we've seen, you know, players like Plup obviously, but even like Edbad and like Elkies are really good at making that hard to do. And so it's one of those things that like as time passes, I wouldn't be surprised if she's moved up, even though and she even got a hit, you know, her F tilt. Like I think that is a fantastic change. That's one of my favorite like patch notes in this game is the sour spot on F tilt. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention like her F tilt becoming easier to deal with was a huge boon for like this character not feeling oppressive, because that move was truly ridiculous. And you know, like even in beta, that was the first move I found. You know what I mean? Like I was like, this is dumb.
Literally,
like,
we were just going. Like, well, we played like that first beta, the Kickstarter one, and we just ran up into each other and just ran up, hold down, like it was just, who got sick of it? It was so funny. Like it's a great time. Yeah.
But I think like that 50-50 on like the up air nair stuff after the tether, they kind of simplified it. If you bother to learn it, it's a simpler situation where now it just is a 50-50. And so if there's situations where you don't die, you can just pick the correct option and live.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that makes her simpler to deal with, or at least more straightforward in terms of like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And even stuff like being able to floor hug, dash attack, and then arms attack, and kind of shield the second hit and kind of get whatever you want off of that if people are ready for it. Her recovery is good, but it's not great. I think what I have seen, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but the place where people are making the difference is on the ledge and off stage.
Yep.
Like that's where people are making up the difference. And if you think, you know, Elkies and Plup play a little differently.
Oh,
but
completely.
Elkies is the one to go like deep off stage and trying to make those edge guards happen, while Plup will keep you at the ledge for fucking ever. Like it is brutal. And so I think, insofar as this character making up for the deficits that do exist, her ledge and offstage game are strong enough because people are pushing them far enough, and I feel like pushing it farther than other characters, to the point where she is keeping up because of that. Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting because like not only is she is it like struggling with her own faults, but she herself is good at like punishing people for having those struggles with their own character or their own play style. I think you're absolutely like nail on the head. Is just like it's about controlling the actual ledge itself. That's the hardest part. It's like if you are the one controlling the ledge, whether it's like the way you hold it, the way you cover it with space, whatever it is, and the value you get off doing that, that's where it counts in a matchup like that. And you have to be confident in doing it. And if you're not, you know, very much like we saw in the cake set, like where he just could not like close kills, that was a big part of it, 100%.
Yeah, and the same way you have to be confident to play against Maple, I feel like Maple is the #1 character in this game right now that you have to be confident to play as.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because if you're not doing the stuff that can get you killed, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like you have to be willing to do it. So I think I have to give some of the top Maples their flowers a little bit in terms of just the like cojones they go for it.
Oh no, so real. Like I when you look at like
Yeah.
Plup versus Enbad and Elkies, it looks like they're playing different characters sometimes.
Yeah.
Because Plup very rarely just does that stuff. But what, 7 out of 10 times? Enbad and Elkies are like, fuck it, we ball. Let's just see.
Yeah.
Like what if? Like what if I killed you here? And it's
Like,
just like
I bought the game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it.
I'm gonna
Like,
play it, 100%,
I paid
yeah.
full price.
day one. It's been here since day one, baby, and I'm going off stage from day 0. I love it. I love it. But yeah, I think that is pretty much like it's again, it's like right on the cusp there. Now, you know, we have a couple different characters we can kind of hop on here, but I think a good one is
Do Atlas.
No, I think I'm gonna save. I think I'm gonna save Atlas. I think I'm gonna save
fight
him.
you on this or what?
No, I think it's just because everyone's wrong. So I think it'll be fun to do him later when we kind of have more of an outline going here. Let's
do Crag.
Yeah, let's do Crag. I like talking about this bug.
I know where I have Crag.
Now Crag is weird because there, you know, I'm gonna hop back to the camps here for a second. We can like talk about the implication of this. Crag is this weird character where like some days I'm like, maybe he is better than all these other characters. Maybe he is sometimes, and it's like kind of fucked up. And even sometimes when I'm playing him, I'm like, this is so easy. This is awesome.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then there are some days when I'm like, wow, he is just getting absolutely bullied. And it's not even just like when I'm playing, just like I watch. And I think it's like it's he's such a polarizing character in that sense. And it really is. It just comes down to his size. That's really the big part of it. Yeah, MSB put it best. Yeah, when you hit the up tilt and the down throw, unmatched. He's the best character in the game. But if you can't find it, it sucks. And so it's so weird because I almost want to put him at like the bottom of the gods. Like I want him to be like just there. But I actually think that there is someone else that goes there. And as time has passed, I actually think it's I think he's better than Maple right now. I think specifically right now he is really out of band. And it's not just one thing. Where I feel like there are a lot of characters where it's like this is the problem, right? With Crag, it's like it's the down air. It's the fucking toss. It's the side B and the recovery. It's the 7 jumps. It's like, all of it. And it's just like, it's not like, oh my God, he's so broken, blah, blah. It's just all these little things that compound into this character that at the end of the day is really fucking simple. And that's fine. Every game has to have it. But like, I can do the things that the top Crags do. I do not practice the way they do. I am doing it on vibes, and that is not good. That is not good. And sometimes he is one of those characters where like I feel like a great way to tell if a character is like out of band in a way is if it's like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna pick one of like the silly things on the wheel, and it will just give me the solution. It's like I can't find a kill. Oh, I could back air. I could down air, or I could grab you. And it's just like, and all of them are right. And it's just like, that's a sign. That's a sign. And it's like that starts from like 80%, maybe 70, and maybe less if you're at the ledge. Like it's crazy. And it's just like, I think that's a good sign. But I think like he's like almost a healthy character. He's like so close. And I think like the big one is like it's the side B. Like side B for so many reasons is like the problem move, whether it be the actual spin, whether it be the parrying, not stopping it, whether it be the hop. I'm going on a whole thing, but he's good. He's really good, and that's just the reality. Is Crag is really good right now, and a lot of people just I think don't have the patience to abuse how good he actually is.
Yeah, like again, in terms of where I would have him, and maybe we can compromise to a degree, but I would have him at the bottom of gods. Yeah. In terms of
no, I'm not opposed to that. I've literally switched it right now.
And let me kind of make the case for it. And again, if we're coming at this tier list from the philosophy of what is happening right now, there is no character in this video game right now with results as good as Crag's. And and again, there are tournaments where Zetterburn has done better, or Rano has done better, Claren has done better overall, but I haven't seen a top 8 in so long that didn't have 1 to 4 Crags in it. You know what I mean? Like he's just always there. And this is not to say that the Craig players aren't very good, because they are, but there's also a fuck ton of them.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you have to question why.
No, absolutely.
And why they're able to consistently do so well. And one of the things, again, that Craig does very well is he's another one of those characters that you beat by not letting him play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike Loxodont, he's better at getting himself back in the game after he's been hit, because he has more methods of retreating and more methods of getting back to the ledge and more methods of controlling space and all of these things.
Yep.
And it just creates a character where if you mess up at any point, Craig is immediately back in the game.
Yep.
Craig, in many instances, is in a better spot than you. And Craig's ability to kill off of stray hits and just find horse shit, like, it's
oops,
unmatched.
I'm in your hands.
Yeah, it literally is unmatched. You know what I mean? And
100%.
there's a degree of matchup experience that can help that.
Yep.
But also, like, sometimes your mental stack is too full to be watching out for stuff like up throw, rock, pillar, down smash. You know what I mean? Like on your tech, there's stuff like that again, you just get hit by sometimes, and you're like, cool, I died at 40.
Yeah. And no, the contraption always wins. It always wins.
Again, this is not to say that Craig is unbeatable or too good or whatever, but I think when we're speaking about early meta, which is where we are.
Yes.
And I mean, again, Craig has been dominating since before the game came out. So, like, I'm not going to cut the cap and say, like, this hasn't been happening.
No, it's, yeah.
But in terms of Craig's simplicity, the game plan that just makes sense.
Yep.
A kit that just feels good to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then options that just fill people's mental stack to the point of that, like, little kill confirm that you saw or that you didn't see coming at 80 just hits more often than you would think.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of, like, dealing with other characters. I think Craig benefits a lot from the state of the game right now.
Absolutely.
On top of being very, very strong.
No, and I think he is one of those characters too that has kind of slipped through the cracks in, like, a way, like, kind of like Rana, where it's like, you know, a couple things here and there have been touching his back air, you know, stuff like that as time has passed. But, like, his game plan hasn't been changed in any capacity.
Well, and it's funny because if you look at the numbers, Craig has been hit significantly and it just hasn't mattered.
It just hasn't mattered. Yeah, at all.
I mean, I'll be real. Like, Craig was overtuned as hell.
Oh,
like,
oh my God. Yeah. Oh, it just didn't matter.
Overtuned as hell.
100%.
And they brought him down into a spot where, again, if we look on this theory side of things, Craig's very beatable. But I think, again, there are too many examples of too many top players falling just a little bit short in terms of being able to dominate this character in the way that we would expect.
100%.
And I think you have to take that at face value, at least for the time being, because, again, simplicity in a platform fighter is a benefit.
100%. The less you have to worry about.
Especially when turns are 10 hours fucking long. And I'm unwilling to not factor that in.
No, it actually matters a lot. When your game plan and your win cons are simpler, at the end of the day, whether it be, like, execution wise or just conceptually, like, finding them, it does genuinely matter. It does genuinely matter a lot. But I think you're absolutely right. I think I've been scared of saying it. I didn't want to believe it.
Sorry,
but he's one of the gods. You pushed me. You pushed me to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, he's got so many. He's so good.
All right. So we want to do Claren?
Yeah, you want to do Claren or you want to do Arcane?
Arcane's probably spicier. Again, I don't know how you feel about Arcane.
Yeah,
but yeah, let's hop on it.
We could talk about Arcane. So, you know, I say this a lot, and, like, every character is Captain Falcon in their own way, right? Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. They all got their funny ways of doing it. No, this is literally Captain Falcon. He, like, hear me out, right? Think about, like, PM Melee
I played
Falcon,
Arcane.
Right? Yeah, right. Like, you get it. Like for anyone listening, like, hear me out. You ever play against Melee and Captain Falcon, like Melee or PM Captain Falcon? There is one thing that they're doing, and it's they are dash dancing around, being annoying as fuck to, like, actually catch. And if you try to catch them and are wrong, insert whatever 2 or 3 different combo starters that are a complete unreactable mix-up, and it's like you get grabbed and you're getting tossed, you're getting out-aired, you're getting nared, you're getting whatever. And Arcane does the exact same thing to you, but he doesn't even have to jump. He doesn't ever have to jump first, ever. So the thing that like was like, oh, we stuff out the Falcon. You can't do that. You literally can't do that in this game. We don't have Marth Boner in this game.
That's true. I wish
we don't have that. Like, and it's just like, all that kind of stuff. Like it's hard. It's so hard to play neutral with him. And I think like as time has passed and like I've not only gotten the chance to coach some of the Orcanes and will be doing more of that soon, but also like coaching people against the character as more and more of them are starting to kind of pop up out. It's hard. It's hard. I think it's one of those matchups too where it's like it's not even just like, I feel like a lot of this game there's the don't let this character go to this stage, but with Orcane it's like, oh shit, I really hope he lets me take him to this stage or this stage. And it's like, if you don't get to, it's like, all right, well, he is either dying at 90 or living to 150 at 160 and it's miserable. I think this guy's really good, and like I am so tempted to put him like right around Forsburn and like Maple in them, but like I think it's just like right now I don't think he's like fully developed enough, but it's like every month the players are getting better and it's like he is that good. But I think like right now I think he's like right around like here.
Yeah, I guess one of the problems I have with Orcane, and again, this could be just like a right now thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of like Orcane's strength, it's so clearly based in his movement and like ability to get around the stage and be tricky and be difficult to hit and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And having that be a strength is obviously like in a game like this is such an incredible strength to have.
Yep.
But I feel like in terms of his actual moves, a lot of them, at least to me, feel lacking comparatively. And this is not to say stuff like Orcane back air, Orcane nair, like Orcane up tilt are not good moves, because they all are. But every character has a move like that or better, especially the ones once you get to the upper echelon of things, right? And so it feels like to a degree I see a lot of like Orcane's getting these like 3-piece, 4-piece combos and then going back to the well in terms of being tricky to hit in neutral. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's less than what other people are getting, which means there's more emphasis put on this like skill check of being able to win neutral via movement, which is more difficult than just having a fucked up button.
Oh no, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think he's kind of in that place of like development where like, even like to compare this to another character, it's really good, but as time passes, like is evolving still, is Raster. Like all the rasters are starting to come to the realization that like, oh my God, the thing about my character that's fucked up is not when I do landing aerial, it's when I grab you and then I either tech chase you or when I force knock down and I get the tech chase. And Orcane, it's the same thing. Like as they're getting better at creating those forced tech chases, like getting those grabs and abusing that movement and creating like that actual RPS instead of just I'm gonna nair at you, like, or I'm gonna mix up with neutral B. Like it's actually learning how to use like the proper RPS and then actually getting value off it, because right now there really is not a lot of Orcane like data, you know what I mean? It's Marlin and it's Plup and like Iota's now starting to do better, but it's super under like explored and like the wide spread. And I think it's like, you know, you look at like Plup and it's like, it's the movement thing. It's like, he's so good at that. That's why he's so good at Maple. It makes sense that clicks, right? And then you look at like Marlin and it's the tech chase. It's the advantage state. Like, and it's like, whenever the guy, the person that shows up that gets it on both ends.
You can do both,
everything goes out of whack. And like, it's just like, it just hasn't happened yet. But I think that there's a very real chance that like, if it, like as the game changes, you know, as these the gods get touched, if he doesn't, he's just gonna and inch his way up there really quick.
Yeah, I think the other one notable thing is it feels like, again, compared to the characters above him, Orcane can just die sometimes.
That's the thing, right? It's like it's either you die super early.
This is not to say that it's super common, but there are instances where Orcane just dies, and there are also instances where Orcane really needs to lean on a stray hit to kill. Yeah. And those instances, again, they don't happen every single stock. But the other characters so like less frequently need to deal with that the fact that Orcane has it happen sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah,
makes it feel like that bit of variance makes them that bit harder to play.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's like you have these like handful of like really fucked up confirms that can kill people, absurdly early, whether it be the down tilt back air, whether it be the whatever, like all that stuff, the back air, whether it be the tech chase, whether it be the down air, like there's a ton of them. And it's like crazy how many win cons he has. But sometimes you get somebody like 160 and you're like, I don't really have a comfortable way, and I want to grab you and like down air you, and it's like if you're fighting like a Claren that's just like you're not touching me, like it can be frustrating 100%. And I think that's where like it's one of those things that like as they get better and like more creative in a way, and this kind of like what I talked about like Loxodon, where it's like there's so much more to explore still that like he's absolutely going to get better without any doubt in my mind. It's just like who, when, and why, right? Because whoever wants to commit to doing it and figures it out, right? When is like depending on like as the meta develops, and why, whether it be because he gets buffs or everyone else gets nerfed or a mechanical change in the game affects him in his favor. You know, like there's a lot that can happen. But even like if we had this patch like forever, I think he's in a very good spot that like you can win a tournament with this character. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And any like pro skill expression engine changes are going to directly benefit Orcane.
100%. Yep. 100%.
I'm fine with putting him there. I think, again, if we want to take like what's happening right now and this idea of representation into account, which like we kind of have been to a degree, Orcane is the least represented character in the game. That's
the biggest thing. It's like his highs are so high. That's the crazy part. Even just looking at hitfall, like, dude, Iota beat Switch. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff.
I do know Switch is like, Switch has his own stuff going on.
Oh, I know. It hasn't been, you know, he hasn't been competing as player. But at the end of the day, he's a super good player. And it was a super close set 100%. At the end of the day. Like, the way I always put it is, you chose to enter. You chose to enter. Yeah. That's what matters. That's what matters. And, like, you just got to own it. All right.
Claren Beaubaron, C5 Beaubaron.
Yeah. I'll let you tell me where you want to put Claren, and then I'm going to probably disagree with you.
I think Claren is the buffer between greats and gods. And I think...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think with where things are right now, I think if you put it at the top of greats or the bottom of gods, I think that's up to you. I think I would probably lean to the top of greats. Yeah. But I think Claren does a lot of things really, really well. Right? And I think one of the main things that has made Claren feel stronger is when people wrap their heads around what she's actually good at. Because she doesn't play like a swordy character. And as much as like that sucks to hear, like if you were coming from like a Marth, a Lucina, a Chrom, that sort of thing, that's not how she plays. And she very much leans heavy into this big like 0 to death combo sort of thing, into like huge setups off stage, off the back of like pretty consistent neutral game. And learning like not to lean on fair and all that stuff. I know that's just kind of like Claren 101, but the way to play her is not necessarily intuitive if you were coming from just like mash tier swordies.
Nope, not at all.
That being said, when it starts working, it really fucking starts working. And I think the best representation is last patch, I would have had her in gods easily.
Oh my God.
And probably even higher.
Yeah.
Just because of some of the stuff you could get away with up air and some of the stuff you could get away with back air and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think after the patch, she got a pretty significant nerf. In terms of the up air juggles aren't as good. You don't get as free like bear down smash because they nerfed the thing on bear. And they also locked you out of continuous tippers.
So actually, really quick, I kind of want to talk about that change because as some of you who have been in my stream lately know, I think that is the funniest change ever because that shit just gets you killed earlier half the time. For any of you that have not seen the music clip, I wish I had it pulled up right now, but you can absolutely, especially on stages like Forest or Tempest, which like right now, like nowadays, permaban versus that character. I will never give them the opportunity to just rob me because it's so quick that you can just like get like fared, nared, or grabbed at like 50. And if you get DI mixed into the corner and get double tippered into an F smash, unreactable. You because if they don't F smash you, they can do a late and charge it and tipper you and like get it late. There are like setups into this. That shit is messed up. It's definitely a nerf, but it's not like a you are now work. It is a rework. There's a new way to work her combos, and the best players are the ones who have learned how to use it to their favor. And she's messed up right now. I think you're absolutely right.
I think it's interesting, especially because, like, again, it's this concept of how they nerfed Forsburn almost. So before you just got it. Like you just got to do it. Yeah. And now there is some degree of mix in it, and there's some like skill expression in it. And I even feel like stuff like Tipper Nair 1 is underexplored in terms of what you can do with it, and some of the messed up stuff that you can get off the back of that. But I think in terms of, again, the stuff that was just good, like that weak up air, like that kind of low hit bear, like the guaranteed like tipper combos. Yep. That stuff was all just really solid across the board. My God, it made playing against her frustrating because not only did it take a while, but also it was consistent. And as people get better at stuff like baby dashing, better at stuff like pivots, again, Claren's movement options open up to kind of new and better things. So I do think she got nerfed in terms of the stuff that was just simple and good and go-tos. You can't just go back to the well on every single time anymore. But it also means that the kind of like combo routes and skill expression, and even people like myself who like to go back to neutral and kind of play from that state. I know I get flamed for that by Gengar specifically, but like,
just back here them. What are you doing?
I know I'm stupid. But I think there are different ways to play it now that are good. Yeah. And like you said, those big moments, that thing that she is good at. Again, that is not very indicative of a sortie, but those big blow up moments where she just finds the kill still can exist. I
jump scares you now.
She's still very solid. And again, in a game like this, having a disjoint is always going to be a certain degree of strong. And with down tilt being as good as it is very, very hard to argue. So I have her top of greats. Yeah. But I would be fine on compromising with bottom of gods as well.
I think bottom of gods is absolutely the play. I think she definitely is a position where it's like I think she's crazy. I think she is so crazy, and it's literally like it's one of those things. It's kind of like what I talked about the Orcane. It's like each of the Clarins right now are like really good at like different things. And it's like as they're all starting to learn from each other, whether they're talking to each other or, studying each other, we're starting to see that evolve. And like someone who is like really showcasing that is like Spargo. Spargo has definitely not only been like, it's very clear he's not only been taking the time to like play a lot and talk to them, but like you can tell he's stealing some tricks when he plays against them. He's a respecter. He's like, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I should do that. And he implements it so quickly into his play. Like he is like, we talked about the Battle of BC. Like, I'm very excited to see how he has evolved with the changes in this game. Because
the other thing that was mentioned was CCing the tippers now, and that being a change as well. And again, I think that's something that probably should have been in the game in the first place.
I for the longest time, it's just like it's very much in the same sense of like the way the whole like tipper stun thing is. It's just like it adds a level of skill expression for both players now, which is a good thing. But you can still mix people up and get tippers and get grabs, and like the fact that like down tilt, baby dash jab, and dash grab and like wave dash grab, like that whole mini game, like that RPS, it still exists. And
it's always going to exist.
It's always going to exist. And like the fact that just exists blanketly on top of her having insane mobility for a sortie, which is normally not the case. Her burst range being as large as it is not normal for a character with as large of a disjoint as she has. And so that's the thing that like really brings it all together.
And the thing that's weird about her is, again, like the sorties do typically have strong dash chances, and that is like indicative of something that they're good at. And have historically had solid grabs. Yep. And I think the main thing is the throw follow-ups are not usually like 10 out of 10s as well. And I think the areas that Claren struggles with are made up for by how strong her grab game is. And I know you've heard me say before that Claren plays a little bit like a grappler because you do have that like kind of poke and grab play style.
Yep.
But again, it's different than you would traditionally expect of a swordy. And once you get used to, oh, these are the things that are good, she feels really, really nice to play as.
100%.
I think the couple areas that she struggles in are against characters that contest her range, which weirdly enough, like Loxodon does pretty well.
It's a funny one. It's a funny one for sure. You have to play it very carefully. Yeah.
And also kills her pretty early.
Yeah.
So like Loxodon is a matchup that weirdly can be tricky. Forsburn can be tricky. And then like Rano and Craig can kind of be tricky. But I think outside of those couple things, like she does weirdly good against Maple. She does weirdly good against Orcane. She destroys Fleet, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I think she has trouble when people are on either can contest her range pretty reliably, which again only really Loxodon can do at this point, or needle camping Rano.
Yeah.
Or if people can really smother her because she doesn't have really a quick option.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think it's the characters who like restrict her game plan or where it gets tough. Right. And that's why like
when
Rano
she gets
is
to
someone
do what she wants to do. Yeah.
where it's
crazy.
like when you lose the ability to comfortably move as her because of just like needle Dacus, etc., like being able to contest with back air, like and like actually challenge her in that way. It is like one of those ones, like everything else about that matchup is like totally fine. It's literally like that part. And if they lean into it and like play that mini game with you really confidently, it can be really obnoxious for sure. That's that. I definitely agree with that.
There's the other side of it. Like, yeah, if the Rano is just trying to play the game normally, like, by all accounts, she beats Rano.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Again, so there's a conversation about, I actually think she's in a nice spot.
Yeah.
Because your game plan versus her matters. And I think it's really exemplified in that Rano matchup where if you're just trying to play Rano, she will run you over because she's going to do it better than you.
Yep.
Where if you lean into that kind of like needle back air kind of like camping style of gameplay, it can be pretty hard.
Yep.
But I definitely think there's interesting stuff happening with Claren, and I think having a sword character be good is, in my opinion, a good thing.
Every game's gotta have one.
I'm biased on that front, but I'm glad that she is in the upper echelon because I think she fills a niche for a lot of people that the other characters don't.
100%. 100%. All right. Let's get on to this next one. I think now is a good time to talk about the Phony Bear. Now, I know a lot of this we've talked about the data side of it and how well they've been doing. And I firmly believe this is the weekend where it can finally change. I think it's that they've had the time and the actual development and the actual time to build the muscle memory. Like this is the weekend where it's just like, you know, and Bullets is in attendance. Like, I think that's a great opportunity. Like, this is a good moment to see, like, can he do it? I genuinely have not really watched him play at all. So I'm very curious to see how he does. It'll be a really good one. But this character is, you know, we talked about like out of band, right? Where it's like you have all these like weird tools, but like the big thing about him is like normally when things are out of band, it's like, oh, this is out of band. It's so easy. He's so out of band, but it's so hard. It's so hard to do it all sometimes where you're like, the thing, like the horse is like, you got to know and like have the confidence in the execution and be ready to catch the DI. It's like, it is high execution for sure. And like some days it's like, I think he's right here. And some days I think he's up here. And I think it's getting closer and closer, especially on the side that like, I mean, I know you've been seeing the clips of like, you set up a tech chase, you hit an up B above 50%. You can die in 4 different ways now. Like, actually, you can just die in 4 different ways, regardless of the stage, regardless of the character you are, regardless of your DI, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing. And it's like, stuff like that does matter. But we have not gotten to the point where it's been developed enough and the confidence is not there enough for pretty much all of the players to actively do this at a tournament for 10 hours. So, for that reason, he's good. He's good. And he's going to get better in the same way.
Yeah.
But it's hard. He is so hard.
I want to believe. I really do. And like, even personally, I would have him below Loxodon.
No, I get that. I definitely get that.
From the perspective of like, what Loxodon has is just very consistently good.
Yeah. No, I get that 100%.
again, like when things are going well for Edelus, it does feel like they're going fucking well.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
have ice on the ground, when you can do mix ups with dash attack, when you get the grabs, when you kind of get the resets into the icicles and catch the jumps and are able to go deep off stage. And I think, his off stage game is going to be where the make or break is for him getting really good. But just, I feel like other characters do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it better.
Yeah, no,
and they do it
yeah.
with less of an execution barrier.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, this is not to say that it's not possible, because I think it is 100%. But I feel like, again, there's too many instances where I'm like, this guy's just going to get looped at the ledge. This guy's going to be lost in neutral versus the speed demons. This guy, how does he fucking approach Claren? Like, there's just so many things that this character has to contest with that, like, he seems good and the options all seem great. But then when you see him in comparison to whatever the fuck Rano's doing, it's like, what do you want from the bear, man? What do you want from him?
No, this is one of those characters that, like, 3 months from now, I'm excited to reflect on, like, this conversation and be like, how is it developed and how has the game changed, right? Because it's like they are obviously trying to bring him up as the patches have shown, and it's just like, what else is he gonna get, or what else are we gonna find? Right? Like, but like, I think you're absolutely right. And you nailed it, where like right now in the meta where like Claren is becoming more popular, there are more good ones, and they are really, that character's just crazy. Like, to say it again, like you just
not like
get
he does
dogged
good
on.
versus Rano and Craig either. It's not like those are super matchups
The
either.
worst part is, like, there's so many matchups where it's like, it's good except for this situation, but that character's so good at creating the situation. Like the one for Crag, like Crag in neutral, it's actually so great. I actually think that is a super doable on stage, regardless of stage. I think he does really well at contesting like the space and playing at that like close to mid range back and forth.
Sure.
I think he's really good at that. But if he has to up B, motherfucking Zeus figured out how to space up B to guarantee a grab on Edelus, no matter what you do. You just lose. You just lose. And you could be at 60, you could be at 160. It doesn't matter. So if you get hit off stage without a jump, you just die. And like, it feels the same way, like feels bad the same way as like Raster, except there's a little execution. And then it's the same thing with Claren, where they just sit at ledge and they just down tilt you and then they nuke you. And it's just like,
even then it's just like, what do you do when Zetterburn hits your shield? You start crying, man. Like, you just do. Like, it sucks.
He fairs and dash backs and you're like, fuck, I guess I gotta wave dash out of shield and we start over.
I think I can see Edelus getting better if like the type of character that was good changed. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if the greats switched with the gods, Edelus would be in a better spot.
So much better.
What I mean? Like,
because he does genuinely well against literally the 3 greats we have right now. I firmly believe he actually does well.
He's
like,
solid.
Like, he does totally fine. And it's like, and all of them, it's like, oh, you get beat up. You get beat up by everybody. But you know what? I'd rather get hit by Forsburn or get nared by Maple or get nared by Orcane than get hit by any move Claren has as Edelus. It doesn't matter which one.
For real.
It literally doesn't matter which one it is. It will always be worse than Orcane naring me. Like, that's just the reality. I can actually DI that move and it will have an influence on what happens, where like, I'm just dead. I'm just dead if Claren touches me, and it's just like, it's rough. But I do think
there's
he's in a
room
good
for
spot.
Improvement, like you're saying, and I think he'll probably get little buffs here and there. And I think in terms of like what I see being the standout is how far people push these like dash attack jump cancel confirms. And
the big one is
farther.
The big one is the dash attack wave dash. That's the big one.
Yeah, making sure people can do that on reaction. Is tough. Right. But it leads to so much more options. And then also, how confident are you off stage? Because Edelus can go really low. His recovery is not super good in terms of like getting back, but in terms of chasing people, it's incredible. And so people need to push that further because those situations need to count.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. 100%. Yeah. I think that's the big thing. As the flow charts are built like properly, because that's the thing where we mentioned earlier, it's like, these characters that haven't changed dramatically. These flowcharts just haven't changed at all in any capacity. Speaking of characters,
I can see him going up. I can see him going up.
Speaking of characters that have changed a lot in lots of different ways, everyone's favorite character in the game,
Cheeky Bird.
Cheeky Bird. bird, yo. What does he say as Tony Tailslide? You know that he's so radical, you know, like
You're radical, dude.
Yeah.
So funny.
I'm just gonna say this blanketly. Like I think this is like the thing that they changed with the last patch that they tried to get rid of was throw side B, play floor hug fight, win, still have slipstream. The fact that he is allowed to still do that, and he can now do it by throwing it backwards. He just has to be here. He just literally has to be, because that one specific thing, like that part of his gameplay loop, that is the problem. Because most characters outside of very select few, if they play this floor hug fight, have no way to remove slipstream unless they can magically accomplish to grab him during it, which is very hard to do because he's trying to grab you. So it becomes this really nasty game state of like who grabs who and who's gonna bully who, and like also who's willing to be the more patient. And like that's why, like, as a lot of people talked about, is like, you know, the bio play style of throw slip back and dash dance and mix up off plat. It's fucking miserable to play against.
It is, but I don't know how good it is.
It is.
It's
so
again,
good.
maybe like I
think
just
the other thing too.
I think this is going to be the main area where we like disagree on a character placement, but like and again, maybe this is my cross to bear, but like I have found so much success versus Raster in this game.
I think you have the genetics. That's what it is, because you've been forged in the fires.
Like,
like literally, like you have the temperament to sit there and be like, I will play this stupid mini game with you.
Yeah, I mean, like me and Apple was like went to time, like multiple games. Like that's just what happened.
I think that this is very much a you thing. Like that's what I mean. When you look at the
it is, but
broad majority, it's not the case. It's not, because if you do pick a fight with him,
went to time.
if you do pick a fight with him and it's wrong, you get unreactable up air DI mixed upwards of 4 times. You take 50%. You do. It's if you're not Zeta burn and get the shine out of it.
I just like, I guess, and maybe I will defer to you on this one because again, my experience is different. But like, I would have Raster at the top of greats.
I think I think if they get rid of this one thing, he goes back there immediately.
With it, I think
really
with
do.
it's fine. Like I don't know. I think my experience with it is like if you just wait him out, like he doesn't have anything.
No,
waiting is he doesn't do anything.
This is what I mean, where it's like you have the brain that's built to fight that kind of character. And when I need you to go like this and like turn 80 degrees and be like, wow, everyone is miserable. Like that's what I mean. It's just like it's recognizing it's like this is a trait that like you are very good at, and it does. Like I agree with you that like you do have to comfortably put the Raster in the corner, put him on the plat, and play it out. But the fact of the matter, and like very much in what we talked about, that it's very easy to make a mistake or make a wrong call and just oops all my stock, like
and I guess
down air,
the
force
thing
knockdown,
that makes it
grab,
feel
etc.
fair is like he can also do that. Like if he dash attacks your shield, it's like oops my stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so I get that. And like that's the thing.
I'm okay with him being higher than just in greats, but I don't know. I would have him below Craig at least. It's
so weird.
I think he gets the unfun tax for sure. But it feels like to me like the counterplay just exists in such a more tangible way.
The issue,
and as much as it's annoying, like it feels doable.
The issue, right, is what happens, and like this is actually a great point that I want to talk about. Someone in chat mentioned, for lower level people when they're playing a character where the answer to getting better is getting better like fundamental in movement and positioning and things like that. And this is across like any game. You understand this from like Valorant or in like a team shooter, like positioning is the most important thing. And there is no mechanical side to that. Like at all.
Yeah.
It is awareness, it is understanding, and it's like you have that awareness and understanding. 95% of people right now do not. They do not. There is a very small percentage of people that are really comfortable at playing, like, you know, people call it the crag zone, right? Like the raster zone. Most people do not. It's literally like single digit people are really comfortable playing this matchup. And even the ones who are, they don't like it. They don't like it. And it's like the thing that they don't like even like as someone like having prepped Cake for this matchup, it's that thing. It's the slipstream into the fuck around matchup of like, if we scrap and it's unreactable and he grabs me and I'm at 40 now, anything could happen here. And it's like, I could get down thrown, I can get forward thrown, I can get up thrown, I can get back thrown, and unreactable on all fronts to how it plays out. Like, that's the part that's hard, legitimately.
I think I need to see somebody execute it in a way that feels meaningful, because again, if this is all true, but it's locked behind execution that only Marlon has, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no,
someone with 2,000 hours in the game, like, I'm not willing to say it's that good.
I will say this, though. As time is passing, we are seeing more of them show up. You know, Torna got 9th and had a crazy run at the Hungry Games. Don't forget that. And that's online. He's doing it in lag.
Yeah, no, and like, you know, whether it's like Bio or Apple Whiz or Mr. R, or, again, there's just less of them, even if you think of the people who have been on the up and up.
Yeah. I will just say, when they attend, they always get top 16. They always do. That's why I think that's the case. The hard part, the literal hard part of playing this character, and this is the thing that people don't want to admit, is every fucking month they have to relearn their combos.
Relearn the guy.
And that's why people are dropping this character, because it's fucking miserable. And it's like in the matchups where like that stuff matters, you know, a matchup as an example is like Zetaburn, where it's like, can you get the combos and punish the Zetaburn? Sure. But if you have to relearn combos every month and Zetaburn doesn't, guess who has an easier time? Like, that's just the reality at the end of the day, right? Like, and even like the new forward air is better in some ways. That's the crazy part. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just, it's not like a simple, like easy solution to it, but it's definitely like there's just less of them. But whenever they show up, it's kind of like we talked about, like the Ronos. When they show up, it's always good. It's always good. Think about Bio has lost to 3 people in tournament offline right now. Cake, Beastly, and Marlon. And that's it. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll concede on this one. I'll concede. I think you're right in that. Like, I have some personal bias in where I would put him, and again, it's below Crag and Claren.
Yeah.
But I would love to be proven right about it, and I think right now it's very hard to justify playing Raster because of that like newness every month, but also the fact that, again, the good characters, if he fucks up, just blow him up. Like Rano Fair, Zetaburn, anything, like he dies at 70 and it just stinks for Raster. As much as like everything's annoying, he does just blow up sometimes. But yeah, I can concede to that. But if this weekend doesn't shake out the way we think it will, I'm moving them down.
No. I get it. I can, like, this is one of those things where like it can flip flop. They're basically it's this little clump of like 4 characters, and we all know who the 4th one is, and I don't have to fucking say it. Of like, they're all fucked up right now, and they all got something that's fucked up paired with 2 other fucked up things. And I'm saying fuck a lot right now because it's crazy, and you know, we could just do this, and like we can just live our lives. So we're just gonna talk about like the boogeyman in the room and like what happened, and like this is the thing that I think that matters. And it's I think there's a fix that happens here that very quickly like has to be like understood. Like, the thing about Zetaburn is like blah blah blah. We've talked about this before. We don't even have to go super down the rabbit hole of it. You know, there is some high execution stuff, but he also gets rewarded on low execution. He's really good, but there's also like at super top level play, there's high execution. Blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, they changed the shine this patch, and my theory is that they were trying to hit what is called undershine. What undershine is when you shine somebody when they are directly on top of you and like mix their DI or like get them stuck.
Combo.
Yeah, you put it into the Marvel combo, right? Now, the really, really, really good players, as you've probably seen clips from like Acorn and Beastly and like Sango, where they just go doosh, 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 and just do it over and over. Now, in the previous patch, there were characters that this was hard to do with the way shine worked because it stopped your momentum. in their attempt to what I believe was to try and hit this, they actually made it able to be done on lower execution on the characters that was hard to, and most notably, that is Rano. And that was the big thing that he did not have to comfortably do that. It was super high execution to do it to Rano last patch. And now it just fucking works if you hit him with the front of the back and you just recognize that you're hitting him with the front of the back of it. And if you do that, you slide and you make it and you waveland and then you do it again and you do it again and you get to do that a couple of times and then they die. And then they die.
Yeah.
And when you do that to characters who are lighter, like Raster, they die at 50 or 60. And you do it to Claren and they die at 60 or 70. And you do it to Forsman. This is my point. It's just you get to do it to everybody. And I think this is a thing. It very easily can be addressed. But right now, as we're seeing,
it's really good.
It's really good. And there are lots of other little things, and like, honest to God, there's like, we don't even have to go into it. Like, we've done this like 4 times now.
Yeah, and I guess for the sake of like having said it, having Zetterburn at this like #1 spot.
Yeah.
It's just, again, in terms of like game feel, everything Zetterburn does just intuitively works. It works how you want it to work.
Yeah.
Forward air safe, down air safe, back air safe. Weak hit up air combos outwards, strong hit up air combos,
the back air,
nair combos. And then anytime you put someone on fire, you kill them earlier. Like
wait.
Have you
seen the back air reverse fair thing that Switch has been doing a lot lately?
Yeah.
He killed Nard at like 60 or 50 with it.
So
like,
funny.
It's like, oh, I did it right. Oh, but now I'm dead.
Never mind.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, it's just, again, and this is not to say that Zetterburn doesn't have counterplay.
Oh, of course.
But the amount of things you immediately have to think of when Zetterburn fairs your shield is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much.
Yeah.
And he's fast.
Yeah.
His stray hits lead into big combos. His stray hits lead into kill confirms. His recovery is super, like, mix-upable.
And
he's got platform. Yeah, he's got platform cancels. He's got invincible ledge grabs for going off stage. He's got shines off stage. He's got like, truly, he's got everything you could possibly want, and it all works how you think it should work.
Yep.
And while there are weaknesses and counterplay in there, the mental stack that this character puts on you by matter of every move being good.
Yeah.
Is so frustrating.
No,
because
it's so funny because every time I talk to Zetters, they all say a different move is the best one. I've heard,
and then
Nair,
they all
downplay
a different thing. Like,
my favorite one is Stango is on this crusade right now, and he's like, none of y'all F tilt. That's the real broken move, and I'm like, I don't disagree with you that move is also broken, but fuck, like we're just working our way down the list. Who cares anymore?
Yeah,
it's nuts. But I think you're absolutely right that, like, especially where we come from, a game where like less mobility and to like really safe hits on shield have so much power, and understanding that power, I think that's something that the masses do not understand at all. What it means to have a like -4 or less move where you get to hit shield and dash back and keep winning, that's a big deal. And a lot of characters got it, but if you notice, the 2 boogeymen here, they both are really fucking good at that. Significantly more than the other 3 here. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal, and it does matter a lot.
Yeah, when you are in a game where shield is as central mechanic as it is in this game, and you get to just fuck around on shield, like you have options to just ignore it, it really does matter. And like, again, we would be saying this for other characters, like if they had a bunch of just ridiculously safe shit on shield as well, and like a bunch of them do. But I think the difference is the stuff that Rano and Zetterburn have that is safe on shield is safe enough that it's still your turn.
Yeah.
Instead of like, let's return to neutral or play some guessies, it's like, no, it's so safe, and the next thing that's coming is such a mix-up that you still are on the defense.
You have to promise me you'll stop saying guessies. You gotta stop.
It's true, and I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. It's guessies.
It's a fucking mix-up. It's a fucking mix-up.
It's guessies. You're guessing.
All right. Well, everybody, And then this character is just somewhere over here. I just, out the gate, like it's just somewhere around here. There's just no way. There's just no way.
Honestly,
there's there's just no way. They've learned their lesson.
Yeah, she will be up there.
Yeah. Like through the grapevine, I've heard some cool stuff. Obviously, I've not seen or actually know anything about this character, but I watched the trailers. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST, we're gonna see Trevor bully the fuck out of everybody with this character and the dev team. Like, we're gonna see it, and she's crazy. She's crazy.
Gonna be good. She's gonna be straight up really good.
Yep.
I think that's the minimum of where she is.
100%.
And I think we were talking about this before, but her kit just necessitates her being good.
Oh.
Having an air dash, having a command grab, having a good combo finisher and up B, having a combo up air, having great normals, combo
and at the end of the day,
and nair one. It's good by necessity.
And then her uniqueness being the don't fuck around zone. You mess up in there, that's it. Because it's one of those things that give it 2 months. If she doesn't get massive changes, it's all optimized. It's all optimized because it doesn't matter what you do once you get crystallized. That's what I mean. The amazing rat trick might get revealed early tomorrow. No. Anyways,
the amazing rat trick.
There's just no way that a kit like hers, where with the mobility that she has, it just and the mix-ups within it, it's just got to be good. There's just no way. She's got all the fixins, the smorgasbord of a character, and I'm just happy at the end of the day. I've said this, in the past, she was my least favorite platform fighter of all time, but it very much was centralized around her old side B. The fact that is gone, I very much look forward to exploring and actually learning how to fight this character, because before it just felt like playing against a gun at all times.
Yeah.
It just was miserable. And now it's just not that. It's not that. It's not ever gonna feel like that, because there's actual neutral to be played. And that's awesome. That's what matters.
I think again, we've had this conversation as someone who played Mii Brawler for a lot of the life of Smash Ultimate, and seeing the overlap in what she can do and how that changes a game. There is no one in the game right now that can do that.
Yep. No, nobody.
Straight up.
Yeah, the closest is Lox, and even then, he's just too big and too slow.
The amount of stuff that is going to open up for people who connect with that playstyle, especially this high pressure kind of combo reset situations in Advantage, you're going to see players who weren't as good before because they didn't have access to this playstyle click with it and start beating your favorite players, and it's going to be annoying. People are going to get frustrated about it.
The crazy part too is the players who are already good that naturally clicked with this playstyle but have adapted to the game will now have that kit that they resonate with. Most notably, I think the biggest person in the room who I can say this about is Zeus. He actually played a lot of brawlers, and funny enough, the funniest one that he played, that I always love saying, he played fucking Little Mac.
Of course he did. He did.
Yeah, funny fast guy, press the buttons. Yeah, buttons that say fuck you. Yeah, and now he's gonna get a character that's like that on crack. That's what it is. And I'm genuinely very excited though. I think tomorrow it's gonna be really cool to get to see, and I'm really excited for next week. Totally, we're gonna get that character on April Fools. By the way, there's just no way we're not.
That's Zeke's hard read.
Yeah, Dan, I know your game. I've played this game before. Whatever the fuck he says, I get it, and but I'm excited. This is going to be a really fun little shift, I think, because there's just nobody that is like this kind of character. I think it's almost like Crag adjacent, except you're this big, and that's bad. Or that's good.
Again, it's for the people who don't want to play Crag.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, 100%.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see what this character does to the game, because again, her kit is going to be good almost by necessity. Yeah. And it's going to be one of those things that people will be able to push and push and push. And I think something I see from people who are not connecting with the game is like I don't have a character that fits for me. And again, this is not covering every single archetype that's missing, but it is covering one of them.
Yes.
Right? Nobody does what Olympia does. And so
Nobody.
I think that inspires me as well in terms of, okay, this is going to get people back into it because it is different. And once we get characters like Abza and maybe like a Roy type character, if they add someone new and things like that, like that is going to get, Slade, please. That is going to get people back into the game because it fills those niches and they're no longer having to adapt to the game, but more, or adapt to the play style, but just adapt to the game itself.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is it, guys. This is what we think right now. This is how we feel, and it's all gonna change next week, and we're gonna be completely wrong, just like I was last time.
It's all gonna revamp it next week.
Yeah. Next week we'll see you guys on that one next week. We'll just first impressions out the gate. All right, well, this is fucked up now, and they didn't nerf needles, so you know.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Maybe the only thing that we like change here is I think you could probably just move Fleet up to the bottom of good. I don't know if she deserves her own tier of like.
I think she does. I really do. I think she does.
I think so.
I really do.
So.
I'll say it on the record, Mr. Billy Baddington. You are talented, and you figure it out sometimes, and I do not. I am not talented. You can clip that one and ship it, guys. That's for Billy. All right.
Damn.
You and Mystery Solar creatures. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, La Creatura. All right.
Clip it and ship it.
Clip it and ship it. All right, so now we can start getting into our next little segment. This will be a short one, guys. And chat, you get to kind of participate in this one a little bit for any of our live watchers right now. Tomorrow and next week are 2 Nintendo Directs. Which we are both very excited for. Tomorrow they did day before announcement. Fuck you, Nintendo. Don't do that because I like having a schedule and a routine in my life. But I guess I'm waking up at 9 a.m. and watching Twitch instead of doing other things more productive. So that's okay. I can do that. But it's been confirmed that they are showing new titles for the Switch and assumed to be like updated games for the Switch 2 when that comes out later this year. Right. We've already been teased on 2 of the big games that are planning to come out for the launch of the Switch 2. And that being Metroid and Mario Kart. And me and you both are fucking... We both saw both those games and our neurons like full, like the monkey clapping was like, let's go! Yeah! Because we both love those. God. I know you're a big Metroid enjoyer, but I know we both have the brain worm for Mario Kart as well.
I feel like it's impossible not to enjoy Mario Kart in some degree.
I've met some people.
I feel like, and maybe it's not for everyone, but I feel like especially for me and the people I kind of grew up around, it was such a formative like childhood game of like just throwing it on, especially stuff like Double Dash and to an extent Mario Kart Wii.
Absolutely.
Where you just like it kind of taught you what gaming was and what gaming was like about.
Yes. And it's
this
fun.
Is like not to get so philosophical about it, but like Mario Kart really says something about gaming. And like, again, the experience that you share with friends, the exploration of like shortcuts and cheats or like glitches and being able to explore like different characters and what you enjoy in the maps and getting different times. And it's like,
it being
just
random
and
horseshit and aggravating. It's fun. It's stupid. That's the point. And it's meant to be had with your friends. That's like the best part about it. Like you nailed it.
Yeah.
It is the game that embodies it more than Mario Party, more than anything else I think I've ever played. It's just like
it's more than any game.
I could sit down and play Mario Kart Switch right now and it would still be fun all these years later. And I've played it. I cannot tell you how many hundreds of hours. Like it is awesome. And it's just like I can't wait to play the new one. I'm so excited. But Metroid is real. And this motherfucker adjacent to me right now is like, well, it's not real until it's in my fucking hands.
It's not real. It's straight up not real.
It's real. It's real. And there's even a real chance they might even show more about it tomorrow instead of during the Switch 2, because the Switch 2
There's
Direct
no way.
It might be more like hardware focused, because one of the big things that they've been teasing is the whole like mouse thing. For anyone that doesn't know, there is a like trademark, copyright, whatever the hell you want to call it, on the way the new Switch Joy-Cons work, and it's that they can be used as a mouse with the Switch 2, which is
on a table.
So cool. And for like the implication of that for games even like Splatoon or third party games, you know, thinking like action RPG or like Western action RPGs being like Skyrim and Fallout and things like that, like is gonna be so cool to be able to play it on that platform where we just haven't been able to do that.
I think it's interesting for sure. And I'm hoping it's not one of those gimmicks that kind of falls by the wayside, like the Wii U tablet or whatever, and actually becomes like an engaging part of the way you interact with games. And I also hope that it's not shoehorned in a way that it becomes inconvenient.
You mean you don't want to do the Mario Paint minigame in the new Mario Party where you have to sit and draw the perfect circle? Imagine the perfect circle. About, like, could you do it right now? Could you draw a perfect circle?
No, I could not.
Exactly.
But like, even if you remember, like Mario Party 6 on the GameCube had that microphone that you had to use for some of the video games. Like,
the choices,
I think stuff like that is great when it works, but when it's shoehorned in a way that makes the experience inconvenient, it can suck and take away from it. So I'm hoping that it doesn't become so implemented that it becomes inconvenient, but I think it's something cool to explore 100%.
What I like about it is like, even though it could be something like whatever, like even like the HD rumble from the Switch, like I'm someone, I don't give a fuck about rumble. I actually don't like it. And I have like hand stuff where like it irritates me.
It off.
I always turn it off, but I know people who love it. And like the PS5, like HD rumble, like they live for that shit. They love it. The immersion and all that. My thing about it is like these mechanics and like technological wise, it's not even just like how Nintendo does it, but how it evolves over time. Because even like, you know, you mentioned like the microphone, there have been games that have been created based on like that Mario Party minigame where you do the voice of the character.
Yeah.
That has like become like its own niche genre and things. And even though it never became this mainstream thing, they spawned something completely new that no one ever thought of as an idea. And it's like this mouse thing, I couldn't tell you what that idea is in any capacity besides just using it to aim and not having to do fucking gyro, which is all I want. But someone somewhere is developing a game right now with that intent, using all the parts of the Joy-Con. And that's so cool to imagine that it's like, it is this do everything doohickey. And that's so cool. I love that. I think that's awesome.
I like the idea. And definitely I think Nintendo has a pretty good track record of making stuff work at the very least in some games and making it engaging. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes. Just like Metro, we're going to get 3D Metroid and you're going to be able to aim with a mouse.
Yeah.
Like, that's what matters, right? Like that's the point. That's what we want. But I get what you mean though.
Other stuff that's going to be there, I know like people are expecting a new Kirby game, or not even a new Kirby game necessarily, but like a remake of a Kirby game. I know something that's expected to be be
I could see that.
The game is called like RoboBot or something like that.
Oh, that's a 3DS one.
I don't know all the Kirby games, but
that one's good. That's a good game. Okay. It's one of the three. I think it was a 3DS exclusive. But it's definitely one that like got left behind, where it's just like this was considered a good game. It's just never been brought up, and that's they've been doing that with more and more of those Kirby games that have been kind of left behind. Even like the one that was on the Wii, the Return to Dreamland. That game got a whole new life with all the characters and all the quality of life changes. Like that game is awesome.
I think though it is going to be very interesting to see what the Switch 2 launch games end up being, because we know Mario Kart is going to be one of them. We don't necessarily know that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be one of them, but it could be.
It's going to be at least by Christmas this year for sure. But I mean, the other conversation is usually the console launch alongside like a flagship game.
Alongside something like Mario Kart. So something like a 3D Mario, something like a new Zelda, and even something like a Smash.
All right.
And that's not just...
I need to gather the troops for this moment because you said something that needs to be addressed. We all have to, everybody put your hands up right now. We have to believe that tomorrow is Wind Waker HD ported and Twilight Princess HD ported. They literally got to do it. They just got it. It's just, why are it's stuck on the Wii U? What? No, wait, they shut it off. You can't even do anything with it anymore. They got to do it. They got to do it. When? I don't know. But it's gonna happen. Like those games are just too iconic, you know what I mean? As well as, don't forget too, like they still have the whole virtual console available, and that they've been really leaning on and expanding. And there's one thing they haven't done yet. There's one big thing that they've not done on the virtual console yet, and that's break the glass and put all the old Pokemon games on there like they did on the 3DS. And when that happens, the infinite money printer activates immediately.
Infinite money.
Like, come on, I'm buying them all. Like, that's just, we're all just set to spend money on that. And like, there's just so much that's available to them of like, whether it's new game or returning games. Like, I expect a lot of returning games or updated games. Like all the Xenoblade games, they're all going to get graphic updates. And the Paper Mario is going to get the uncapped FPS to 60 with the new Switch, because the Switch 2 is like a real graphics card in it. Like all this stuff. Like, I think a lot of that is going to happen. And the goal is going to be to get everybody to transition to the new console and transfer their entire libraries, like they said we would be able to, and then just like drop bomb after bomb after bomb for 2 years. Like, that's the plan.
Yeah. And I mean, even in terms of the games that we know are coming out, we know that there's another 3D Mario in development. We know there's another Zelda game in development. We know there's the Pokemon ZA or whatever in development. We know Prime is in development, and you can make an inference that another Smash game is in development.
Sakurai is back. That is confirmed.
Yeah,
he is back.
100%. Yeah, he's been working. And so it becomes less of a question of when and more a question of like, or less a question of if and more a question of when.
Yeah.
In regards to like, when do we get these games? And like I said, traditionally the consoles launch with a flagship series, whether that be a 3D Mario or a Zelda game. So that's probably coming soon. And if you go by the development cycles of Smash games, what they have been in that like 3 or 4 year range, we know Sakurai came back in 2022. We are getting there.
We're getting close.
And so,
another big one to talk about too is Splatoon. Splatoon is one of the greats now, but a lot of people don't actually realize this. It is one of their biggest brands across all of the Nintendo products. Both game and merch and everything. It's massive. And as someone who loves Splatoon a bunch too, like, it's crazy. And I found out recently they did a random little balance patch just out of nowhere. And it's like, that's not normal. So like, I firmly believe in the, like, whether it be a new game or like, they definitely, like, the end goal is to transition everybody off their Switch. That is the goal, is to like trade in your old Switch and get the new one. That's going to be like the main focus. But Mario Kart, there's like a 99% chance that's the big one, that it's like the Mario Kart bundle never misses.
Yeah, they will definitely have a launch bundle with Mario Kart, 100%. I think it's what is coming out with it. Because I think there's no way it's just Mario Kart. They're going to have another game that is like, this is the power of the Switch 2. And they will also have like a number of things to tease, whether that be like GameCube Virtual Console, Pokemon Virtual Console, some of the games that we know are coming. So I think this Direct that's coming tomorrow is going to be a degree of like, okay, this is how we're rounding out the Switch's lifespan. And this is what you see.
This is the last hurrah. Yeah.
You know, whatever we get in April and kind of going forward, it's going to be like, okay, this is what's next. This is what's new. And I mean, considering the content that you can expect to see on this podcast, like, I know you and me would be very excited at the prospect of a new Smash game, especially one without 90 characters in it.
Fuck. I dream of that day.
It'll be interesting to see when that happens, because I personally would put my money on either late this year or kind of for like that spring, summer next year. Of when that is potentially coming out, and in terms of when they start teasing that or showing it, and when the hype cycle starts. Again, for Ultimate, it was only like 3 or 4 months between an announcement and release. It wasn't that long. But for Smash 4, it was a decent bit longer, if I remember correctly. So there are different things that could happen, and I know I would be looking forward to a new Smash and something to reinvigorate the scene.
Absolutely.
Especially with a lot of the conversations around what the meta looks like right now. And I think the community could use a bump, because the people who are passionate are still passionate about it and are going to stay. And there's
100%.
more of them than there ever has been. But in terms of getting like new people into it and convincing people to watch, it's a harder sell than maybe it was a couple of years ago.
Oh, 100%.
That's definitely reflected in a bunch of local scenes around the world. So I think having a new game come out to reinvigorate that, I mean, it's the perfect time. It really genuinely is.
100%. Okay. Any final thoughts? I think you nailed it pretty much on all that. Just what is the other thing that they're gonna launch? What are they gonna show us? What are their like?
Yeah.
I'm big on the tech. I want to know more about the tech and like the actual like specs of it all. Like so much of it has obviously been leaked in its own way, but I want to hear them say it. I want them to tell me that it's gonna be a real console. I want to hear them say it, that it's like, yes, this has 60 FPS. That's all I want.
Yeah, and if I had to bet on what the other like big game coming out shortly is going to be, I would bet on a new 3D Mario for sure.
It's obviously Tomodachi Life HD. Come on, like
Tomodachi Life HD. I've been hearing great things.
It's obviously that. Come on, what are you saying? Anyways. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. You know, I'll be up in the morning at fuck o'clock with everybody. I don't know if I'll be live, but I'll definitely be in my Discord for anyone watching live right now. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have some fun with it. But yeah, we have two directions we can take now. Mm-hmm. We either go and I talk about animation versus and you sit here and listen to me, or we can talk about the media of the week, which I forgot to do my homework on, and you tell us about cool things that you did, and you can go first.
Go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first. Because I've been on about...
yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, chat. We're going to just switch this one over to here. This game is so fucking awesome. So I have had the lovely pleasure of getting invited alongside BioBurb to start playtesting this game called Animation Versus. For anyone that doesn't know, this is a video game created from the universe created by Alan Becker, which is the Animator Versus YouTube series that has been around since a almost 29-year-old adult, watched growing up, and has had its own. It's been reinvigorated in so many ways with the Minecraft versus, with all this stuff. Like, it's huge, and their goal was $130,000. Chat, they're at $250,000 right now, and
the Kickstarter's been up for today.
It came out last night at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We're about, like, in real time, you're gonna see this hit 250K for any video watchers. This game is so cool. It is so cool, and like, not only does it look cool, the game feel is like nothing. I want to stress, like, I have playtested more games than I can count in my life, more different genres and everything, but especially on like any sort of like platform fighter, especially, the thing that matters above everything is that it feels good to move and press buttons, and so many of them fail at doing this. This is a really important part that many people fail at because they don't have the experience. But something that we are very privileged with this game is it is being developed primarily by Muno, who is a Rivals Workshop developer who made the Animation Versus character, a mod which then led to him getting approached to make this game, which is so cool. And I've had the pleasure of talking to him and playing with him, and it's so fun. It's so much fun, and it's simple. I encourage you, like, I'm gonna drop this in the chat, like, I pledged, guys. I encourage you guys to all. Yeah, we both pledged. You can see it. Mine says it. I pledged my 150.
I did the $65 tier, and again, there's something so crazy about seeing this come back when I'm 27 years old, because I remember being 8, 9, 10, like on YouTube for the first time, seeing the like animator versus animated videos, and just being like, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, and I think whether you know it or not, like, those videos were a part of the culture growing up in that era, especially on YouTube. And the impact that has had on people is really difficult to quantify. And I think the way to quantify it is, you see how many people have pledged to this already. The Stick Fighter fighting game has 3,000 people pledging within the first hours of its Kickstarter even going live in a niche, like in a niche fighting game genre.
Yep.
And so I think there is something to be said about the nostalgia that weirdly comes along with this, like, IP, if you want to call it that.
No, absolutely, it is. It's its own brand, its own IP, it's its own world that he's created. Because all these characters are, even though they're stick figures, they are canonically characters in this universe. They each have their own, like, unique personality and design to them. And even like this is something that like on the development side, I had the pleasure of talking to them. Like it's all very deliberate. They are very much like, this is meant to be this guy from this series who has appeared this many times, and this is how we can manifest this. And it's even gone both ways, where like there are ideas that he's had that are gonna probably help even evolve this universe further, which is so cool that it's just like becoming this own like living brand.
Yeah, and I think the videos at the time were like defined by creativity and chaos. Like that is what you got into with the videos, is you were going to see something that was both like witty, clever, but also something that was well done and that you hadn't seen before.
Yes.
And I think when you bring that concept to something like a platform fighter, a game, like a genre where so many games are obviously inspired by one particular game, it is really hard to breathe fresh life into Flat Fighter projects without making them suck.
Or just making them Smash Brothers too. And I hate to put it like that.
That's what I mean. Because as far as the Smash Brothers formula goes, because it's been around for so long, it's quote unquote safe. Yeah. But also like you know how to do it. And the games that have tried to deviate from it, there have been a lot of failures. Yeah. And like I'm looking at you, PlayStation All-Stars. I'm looking at you know, as good as like Rush Rev was, like again, it tried to deviate and didn't necessarily stick the landing. Yep. And I like Rush Rev, but this game, I think, if you look at the mechanics, look at what they're trying to do, look at how the game plays, it's familiar, but they're trying to do something different. Yeah. And that concept of creativity and chaos comes across so like well in the designs that they're able to put characters through, that wouldn't be possible in a game that played just like Smash Brothers. And I think that's what gets me excited, because it gets to be different. Yep.
No, the Muno put it very well, where it's like a lot of people try to like take Smash and like add to it. Where with this, they took the feel of Smash and things like it and deconstructed it and brought in the perspective of games like Guilty Gear and like Street Fighter. And that is a lot of the inspiration behind a lot of the mechanics in the game, is like it's made to be approachable like Smash, but has this depth and this creativity and this agency that you have in like a conventional fighting game, which is so cool. It's so cool, like how they've found this little magical formula. And so many people have tried stuff like this, and this is the first one where like out the gate, I genuinely had fun. Whether I was winning or losing, whether I was dropping combos, it felt good. Where I feel like even if it's like, you know, I go and play Guilty Gear, if I haven't been keeping up with my combos or things have changed, it's not fun because I'm just losing. I'm just immediately getting outclassed. But in a game like this, it's so simple that it's like in real time, I can figure it out. But in a game as complicated as like Guilty Gear or Street Fighter, that is not the case a lot of times, especially while you're trying to like rack your brain of like, what happened? You're getting throw looped and getting like 12 hit pieced, and they're like, well, I maybe I'll get that opportunity again. Like, it's really, really special. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in this game, genuinely.
I think as it evolves, and again, you know, this is a game that is very early in production, and you know, I saw they're shooting for that like 2028 release date.
They're being really realistic that it's going to take
years down the line. But again, in terms of like what you can do and that idea of like chaos and creativity, because of how they've implemented blocking and the screen breaks and the health bar system and the EX system and all of those things, they're all a little bit different than what you would expect. And it means that there's opportunities for stuff that would be broken in like a Smash environment to feel balanced from the perspective of, again, that like chaos and agency side of things, where the game lets you do what you want to do. And also has mechanics based around, okay, this is going to get a little wild. I think that's sick.
It's so cool that like they have figured out how to do that, and all with just little stick men. And it's still cool.
I like the guy with the fishing rod.
Dude, the fishing rod guy's so cool. He's my favorite right now. His tipper, because it's like a sword. It's a tipper, but it pulls you Richter in. Yeah, it pulls you in. It's so cool.
It's HDR Richter.
It's awesome. But
you already know I'd cook you. You already know I'd cook you with that.
Okay, yeah. Right now, I'm the best, and nobody can actually contest it. It's awesome. But yeah. That's my geeking about this game. I'll encourage you to check out this project and even just keep an eye on it. It'll be a really good time. It'll be a really good time. Also, for any of the live people, I also made a video on YouTube, which I don't do a lot, and if you could all just like give it a view, that'd be really cool. Anyway, there's the one shill. Anyway, yeah, that's my geeking about this game, and I will be playing this a lot more. The beta is not open yet, so I'm definitely of the lucky people that get to play it and geek about that. So keep an eye out for that, as well as there is a tier for supporting it to get access to the beta. So if you are interested in doing that, like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and
but that's it. That's all I gotta say on that.
This will not be the last time we talk about this game.
No, I'll talk about it every
week. As there's more to play, more to explore, and even as you're able to jump into it, as eventually I'm able to jump into it, and all of that stuff, we'll have more to say and more to kind of explore as more becomes available. But I think it's definitely something to keep on the radar, because it is different, and not just for the sake of it, but it's refreshingly different.
Yes.
And I think that flavor is something that we don't get very often.
Absolutely agree. Yep. I think so many people fail because they try to do it for the sake of it instead of understanding like how to use it with intent and like behind the design of it all too. You nailed
100%.
it. Yeah. Good shit. All right.
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be our last segment, and something that I'm hoping to do weekly, just for the sake of like branching out a little bit, because it's very easy to get caught in our bubbles of like what we really know, because we know a couple things pretty well.
Yes.
So I like to have the opportunity to get outside of that bubble and speak about other interests and kind of connect with people in the audience on a level that is not just platform fighters or 2XKO or whatever we happen to be talking about that week. And so we kind of have a segment called Media of the Week, where both me and Zeke try and pick some form of media that we interacted with throughout the week or in the previous weeks, whatever, and kind of talk about it a little bit. And so for this week, I've picked a game called Wander Stop, and Zeke is actually the one who put me onto this in terms of like, what is this about? What are we doing? What are we playing? Because I'll be honest with you, the cozy game genre is not my wheelhouse. If you kind of know me at all, the average game that I'm playing in my own time, if it's not a fighting game, is something like Doom, something like Devil May Cry, something like Ultra Kill. Usually a little bit of pace involved and skill expression is where I kind of like my single player games. That being said, Wanderstop is a really, I found, quite powerful exploration of what it means to both interact with a video game and also how to just be. And I think those concepts of like taking a video game and challenging what it means to play it, challenging the player about what it means to play it and what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yep.
It's something almost no games do.
Yeah.
Right? Very few games challenge you on a philosophical level about what you're actually doing in the game and why.
Yeah. And I think really quickly jump on that point and like why I knew that this game was going to be so special out the gate and why I've recommended it to so many people is this game was created by the same person who made the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. And that game is all about introspection, existential stuff. Like he nails it. And the fact that he finally made like a game with a story where like you're trying to like live vicariously through this character, like actually, and it being not just like a bit, was so special because you can understand that like he literally knows how to like not only help you like learn from it by like this vicarious experience, but to how to you almost experience it upon reflecting on your own life while you're playing and being like, how did I get here? That's the whole game. It's beautiful.
It really is beautiful. And this idea of like min-maxing and optimization and like getting better and improving and gaming for a reason and rising in the ranks. Like, again, this is all stuff that like is addressed directly in the game, and the game will challenge you. It will tell you not that you're wrong, but it will make you think about why you want the things that you want.
Yep.
again, in a way that you walk away from it and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Like,
it changes
like,
you. It absolutely changes
I
you.
feel called out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like get into spoiling the
Yes.
game and too much of what it's about and what happens, which you kind of can do with the themes. But what I can say is, in terms of games that make you think about the way that you play them and who you are and your interaction with the game in that regard, Stanley Parable is absolutely one of the things that does that, and I think they really hit the nail on the head with Wanderstop in terms of its ability to challenge people like me who don't normally play cozy games and don't normally
Hmm.
enjoy them. And even if you do, it will challenge you to play it a certain way or not
Yep.
a certain way. And I
Yep.
think having achieved that in a way that feels cohesive is something, again, I don't know if I can point to another game that does it.
Yep. Nah, I 100%. I haven't finished the game myself yet. I've put not nearly as many hours as she has in this, but
I blew through it.
yeah. I was like, hey, I'm playing this. I'm sick. Like, you should check this out. And she was like, oh my god, this is the best game you've ever sent me in my life. Like, thank you. That and just kept saying stuff. And I was like, no, don't spoil. Don't tell me anything. And it's so great to see. Like, there is such a great feeling that comes from like being like, hey, like, check this out, whether it be movie, show, game, whatever, and someone being like, oh my god, I'm in love with this. And like, that's why we wanted to do the segment, to share this with you guys so that you can come back and be like, yo, I tried this. And if you did like it, let us know. Let us know on our Twitter as well, at Caster Curse. And if you have something you recommend, let us know. That's a big thing. Now, I actually lied. I'm going to remove the other thing on our list. I did bring
Sure.
something that I want to recommend. And for anyone that follows me on Twitter, you will know that I am currently very, very, very obsessed with the movie known as Flow. This movie won a lot of awards, and I'm sure you've all heard about it in some capacity. It's the little kitty movie, and it is a piece of art. It's not a movie that you're going to be like this crazy entertainment. It's not anything. It is a piece of art. It is meant to evoke emotions in you that you might not have felt in years or have ever felt and can empathize with. And everybody on planet Earth needs to watch this to realize how good movies can be, because this is a movie about a bunch of animals that are trying to survive and don't speak a word. It's all body language. It's all like a different form of expression. It's all environmental storytelling. It is art. It is magical. And like, I hate to like compare like apples to oranges. Like, I hate doing that. But when I watched this movie, it showed me like this whole thing that like there's this whole part of the world that Hollywood and like the way a lot of movies nowadays are made are missing out on. Because when I watched this movie, I thought about like the new Lion King. Right, the new like CG ones, and I was like,
Yeah.
not only do they just not look good for 100 reasons that I don't need to explain, but like the actual voice direction and all this stuff, I don't even blame like the voice actors. It's all the direction and everything of this movie is so uninspired in the way they do it, and the storytelling is so bad. Even the body language in this movie suck, and the fact that this movie made in like Unreal Engine or whatever it was did that better. It is like a huge like gut check for every other of these animated movies that are so uninspired right now, to be like, this is how good it could be. And it gives me hope because it is getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah. And I think you've opened up a can of worms about like this idea of animation versus live action or CG in general, and how profoundly powerful animation can be as a subgenre if you use it properly, and especially even more so than necessarily certain projects can be in live action. Not everything is automatically better than live action, and my head goes to one of my favorite movies, which is Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
and how
I didn't even watch the trailer.
The live action one is coming out, and it really saps the soul out of like what that movie was. Yep. And I think other good examples are things like the Spider-Verse movies, and
oof, yeah, it's so good.
That
go ahead.
Just like movies that couldn't exist in live action, not in the same way.
Yeah,
right. And using animation as a like methodology and a formula, and stuff like Flow does this very well to convey things that the other mediums can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when that is pushed to the limit in something like
Oh,
Spider-Verse, in something like Flow, even in
yeah.
the older Disney movies that were trailblazing at the time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? They showed you something that you couldn't see in live action because the animation was part of the storytelling. It was part of what made the movie so unique. And I
Absolutely.
think we are slowly getting back into an era where
Oh, we're
people
so close. We're
appreciate
so close.
animation
Yep.
and people appreciate what it uniquely offers. But I think
Mm-hmm.
like for a while it was pretty grim. And I think I think Spider-Verse kickstarted it a bit in terms of people being like, this is what it should be. And
Yeah.
then movies like Flow, which were undoubtedly inspired by Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
not necessarily stylistically, but from a like philosophical
Yes.
filmmaking standpoint,
100%.
are coming out now and showing us that like this genre and like style of filmmaking stands on its own because of what you can do with it.
Yeah. No, the exact moment I saw one screenshot or one picture from the trailer, and it's when I forget the name of the two aliens when they're coming to get Stitch, and it's just them as two normal guys, and I'm like, that is
It's
literally
just dark.
not the
It's
point.
just
That is
dark.
not the fucking point. They're meant to. They could have just put like funny little alien suits on, and they just don't do it. They just don't do it because they don't want to, because they don't have to, and it's just like it's so infuriating when I saw that because I was just like, this movie sucks now. No, I don't care. Now, I was like, nah, they don't get it. They don't know what they're doing. And it's just like, it's so sad because it's so close. It's so close. And it's like, I just pray for the day that nobody goes to see that movie. But I know it won't happen. But I pray of whatever movie that ends up being, I pray for that day. Because like we're even seeing this happen, starting to happen in like real time, where like the Marvel movies are getting real directors now and real writers again. And I'm not trying to flame anybody in that way, but it's just like for many years it was spiraling out and it was like the same director or just like, or even like, you know, on like the Sony side where they were getting the slop of the directors who are also writing the movies, who have the worst track records you've ever seen of like 4 out of 10s, 3 out of 10s out for their whole career. Not even like a one hit wonder that's trying again, like always bad. And like now we're seeing like, you know, Thunderbolts is the example I'll give. Like this is one where it's like, I have like this much hope because of the way it's being advertised as like an indie movie. And also, the director and writer being separate is a big one, a really big issue in hero movies. But 2, having really good track records, like genuinely. And all we have to pray for is that Marvel removes the grip. They remove the grip from the movie and just let them make a movie instead of trying to make a Marvel movie. And it's just like, it's the same thing with all this stuff where it's just like, it's always the top down issues that are causing it. And it's just like, the moment we just let creatives be creative again, and make art like Flow and like Spider-Verse and like Wandershop. It's a game even existing because 10, 15 years ago where everyone was like, oh, we're in AAA hell. And to a degree, we almost ended up back in that again, where it's game after game after game. And now we're seeing games like Assassin's Creed be good again. Dog.
You're like, what happened? Yeah.
If I had to buy stocks 10 years ago, I never would have bought Ubisoft stocks. There's no way. I thought they were going out of business. And here we are, and this game is apparently a banger. Like, this is what I mean, where it's just like all this media is just like, we just got to let the creatives be creative and do cool shit. That's it.
Yeah. And I think even if we're on this like topic of like superhero stuff, which I know is off the topic of Flow, which is where we started.
Yes.
But,
yeah. No, the derail is
like,
real.
Even what they're doing with like DC right now in terms of like,
oh yeah,
they have a story that they're trying to tell, but insofar as like giving directors freedom and like creatives the ability to make movies that they want to make, like one of the first 5 movies in the new DC thing that they're trying to release is going to be a fucking Clayface movie, like a Clayface horror movie. And it's like, that does not come about when you're trying to like just do the franchise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That comes about when there's like a director with a vision trying to do something.
I hope that comes out. I really do.
I'm very, very hopeful that those end up being good because again, that sends a message that these movies can be made from a perspective of like passion for the project, as opposed to just pumping out flop
Yep.
that you think people are going to go see. And for a while,
Exactly.
people did go see.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
including me. Like,
No,
I'm not
100%.
excluded from
Yeah,
that.
no, I was definitely on the slop train for a little bit, and I eventually I reached my breaking point. You know, we all have them. It happens. We all want to have faith in the thing we really like being good, and sometimes it's not, and that's okay. But yeah, I think that covers our media of the week. Again, guys, if you ever have any recommendations for us, we're always open to it. We might not get to it that week, but you know, a couple weeks down the line, we might be like, hey, this thing was recommended by so and so, and it was sick as fuck. So
Yeah,
we'll talk about it, and we'll give you
Yeah.
the credit 100%. So just let us know. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts then before we kind of start to wrap up?
No, I think that is going to be episode 1, kind of hitting the books. It's been a bit of a journey.
Yeah,
and,
this was a long one, guys. We had a lot to talk about.
Honestly, I don't mind the length. I feel like we got to do everything we wanted to do, and
Yeah.
I was here for it. In terms of like where you can find this for the people who are not listening live, these are streamed live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zeke here. You can follow us on Twitter at Cast or Curse. You can follow me or Zeke on Twitter at /nurse or at ZekeWare. And then these should be going up on YouTube shortly, whenever.
Yeah, they'll be on YouTube, and our goal is to then get it approved onto Spotify. So if there's any issues with that, just be sure to follow the Twitter, Cast or Curse, and that we'll keep you guys in the loop on how that's going with that. I'm gonna get that done as soon as possible, hopefully by end of each day when these are done. But should any issues happen, just be sure to keep an eye there.
Yeah, and then the last thing is, again, we don't necessarily know if this is like a weekly thing necessarily or bi-weekly. I think our goal is bi-weekly at least, because I know we're planning to be back next week with the number of things that there's going to be to talk about. So in any case, make sure that you're connected if you want to see what we're doing, want to see what we're up to. This is something I know we're both committed to for the long haul. And
Absolutely.
so you should see the document of infinite ideas that currently exists.
Yes, we've much to discuss.
We will be back next week in terms of talking about the Nintendo Directs that happened, Olympia's coming out, kind of a recap about Battle of BC, and also the 2XKO news that is going to be coming out between now and then. So if that is any sort of things that you're interested in, we got you covered. We got you covered, much like we did today.
Yep. And we also are planning to do some more topical stuff too, both using our backgrounds and careers to address some cool things that we want to talk when there isn't nearly as many things going on. We're going to try and make more room for that as time goes. But for today, we just wanted to kind of talk a little bit, let you guys get to know a little bit more about us and all that fun stuff and things we like and all that jazz. But stay tuned for sure, because we've got a lot more cool stuff to talk about. I think that is a great little send off for episode 1 of Cast or Curse. Goodbye, everybody.